At this time, fans, we ask you all please rise, face the flag in right field as we honor America with our national anthem. Tonight's anthem will be sung by Dylan Labella.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
After 39 baseball games in the 2021 CCBL season, it all comes down to this: a do-or-die Game 2 for the Harwich Mariners against the formidable Brewster Whitecaps to force a Game 3 tomorrow at Stony Brook and keep the Mariners' title hopes alive. To make it to the CCBL Championship Series, Harwich will have to do something that no team in the league has done since the Brewster Whitecaps in 2017: overturn a 1-0 lead in a best-of-3 playoff series. Standing in their way is a Whitecaps team that has dominated the M's in 2021, winning 5 of their 6 meetings with Harwich and blanking the best lineup in the East 3 times, including a 2-0 victory last night that puts the Brewster Whitecaps 1 win away from punching their ticket to the CCBL Championship Series. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the broadcast booth here at White House Field. I'm Tyler Henry, joined by my broadcast partner Tim Foley, and tonight it really is do-or-die time for Harwich, but the Mariners have done some of their best work here at home. Tim, a great atmosphere here, a lot of fans on hand here at White House Field for this game. How important do you think that atmosphere is for a Mariners team that, let's face it, is desperate for a little bit of momentum in this series?
Well, this is a Mariners team that already thrives so much at home. Their best splits come when they're here at White House Field. They're 11-5-2 on the season whenever they get to play at home here this year, and so you couple that with the fact that you have the largest crowd on hand, and this should make for some great energy for a Harwich team that's in dire need of some momentum, as you put it, Tyler.
On the bump for the Mariners in this pivotal Game 2 will be Eric Raiselman, and the other of the 2 Mariners all-star starters. And, Tim, really, there's no one else the M's would rather have on the bump than Raiselman for a game like this.
No, certainly not. I mean, you have your second pitcher on the second-best pitcher in the rotation going today for the Mariners, and it's a do-or-die situation. You need to have Raiselman put up the numbers he's put up all season long, and you have faith with the kind of guy that he is that he'll be able to come out and perform for you here today.
So Raiselman, the righty from LSU, gets set to kick off game number 2, and the first pitch on the way is fouled off by the leadoff man here for the Brewster Whitecaps and Spencer Jones. Let's take a look at the Brewster lineup. Not too many changes for today. Spencer Jones leads things off, playing out in center field, followed by second baseman Alex Freeland, shortstop Zach Neto, first baseman Jake Thompson in the cleanup spot today, as this ball's chopped just on the foul side of the chalk line down that third base line. In the 5-hole, it'll be former Mariner Chris Lanzilli playing right field, followed by left fielder Chad Castillo, third baseman Tony Billard, catcher Curtis Byrne, and your DH today for the Whitecaps is Porter Brown, who gets a late addition here to the lineup. A guy who did not see a ton of time down the stretch, but had a couple of good games here at the tail end of the 2021 campaign and has been given a lot of confidence in the DH spot today. Already mentioned Raiselman on the bump for the Mariners. We'll talk more about him after this 0-2 pitch, as he's looking for a quick put out of Spencer Jones. Raiselman rocks into the windup, brings home the pitch, and it's fouled off here by Jones. Raiselman has been so good for the Mariners since entering into the rotation about midway through the season. Made the transfer this summer from the University of San Francisco to LSU, and his numbers back up everything that he's done throughout the course of this 2021 campaign as he delivers another 0-2 to Jones. This time it is fouled away again back into that Harwich bullpen, but again, taking a look at Raiselman and what he's brought to the table for the M's this year, has a 2.66 ERA through 23 innings of work, but the impressive number for him, 36 strikeouts compared to only 6 walks this year. His control has been impeccable as his 0-2 is taken to second. Should be easy work for Codier, who flips to first in time for the first out of the inning.
And that's good to see Raiselman win a tough battle like that to open up the game. Spencer Jones is a tough out. You know, this is a guy who has had a lot of success in the leadoff spot. So after fouling off a couple of pitches there, Raiselman's able to help record that out.
That will bring up Alex Freeland, who yesterday was 0 for 2 with a strikeout, and that'll give us a perfect opportunity to set the defense for the Harwich Mariners today. Calling balls and strikes, it'll be Tatum Levens behind home plate. It'll be Dylan Phillips at first, Max Codier at second, Zach Preisner at short. Your third baseman is Brock Wilkin. Outfield looks like this for the Mariners. Press Kavanaugh in left, Chris Newell in center, and Jordan Beck out in right. First offering misses down and away for ball 1 to Freeland.
Yeah, Freeland, not the greatest day at the plate yesterday, 0 for 2, along with a strikeout, trying to bounce back here.
1-0 swung on, tipped back into the glove of Levens. That'll even the count at 1-1.
And you have to wonder for Freeland, too. He came in substitution for Trey Faltini. So you wonder if perhaps starting the game off at his natural position at second might give him a bit of a better look at the plate.
Certainly could. 1-1 from Raiselman, this time taken to short. Preisner scoops, picks, fires to first in time, 2 away. And very quickly here, Eric Raiselman has worked a couple of outs as he'll now face Zach Neto, who made his, I guess, re-entry, if you want to call it that, into the CCBL. Obviously left the team and the league earlier this season due to an injury, but was feeling better, came back, and tried to help the Whitecaps finish what he started.
Yeah, I mean, he was released for about 2 weeks, and then he makes his return, and he's exactly who Brewster wants to have in this lineup, both offensively as well as defensively. Just a huge piece of for the success that they've had to this point in the season, you know, prior to him going down, and he's going to look to help him here and make a playoff run.
And obviously offense was kind of the one thing you could point to Brewster and say might be a weakness as Preisner backhands this, turns, fires to first in time for the third out of the inning. It's a 1-2-3 for Eric Raiselman, and now the Mariners with an opportunity to strike first. We'll step away. It'll be Harwich up to bat when we come back. You're watching playoff baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. Glad to have you in here for Game 2 of the CCBL Eastern Division Finals between the Harwich Mariners and the Brewster Whitecaps. After a quick 1-2-3 inning, it'll be Harwich looking to put the first run on the scoreboard, which is critical because you look at the 6 games that these two teams have played, and obviously it's one of those little stats that may or may not mean anything, but the team who has scored first, which 5 times has been the Whitecaps, is the team that has won every meeting between these two. take a look at the lineup here for the Harwich Mariners. It'll be the 6 Cape League All-Stars leading it off, starting with Chris Newell, who will play center field. He'll be followed by catcher Tatum Levens, third baseman Brock Wilkin, first baseman Dylan Phillips, designated hitter Carter Putz, left fielder Press Kavanaugh, and your last 3 in the lineup, shortstop Zach Preisner, right fielder Jordan Beck, and second baseman Max Codier to round things out. Newell and Press Kavanaugh, the only 2 guys to swap places in the lineup. It'll be Newell batting first, as I mentioned, and Kavanaugh hitting down in the 6th hole today. And why not? Newell with a 2 for 4 and a stolen base yesterday. A lot of hope that he can bring Harwich a little bit of a spark in that top spot. First offering to him is swung on and missed, and that'll give us a chance to take a look at who Harwich will be facing. It's Teddy McGraw, the starter here for the Brewster Whitecaps. He's put together an impressive 2021 campaign, 7 appearances, a 3.6 ERA, 25 strikeouts compared to just 11 walks. Here he misses just inside to Newell, and like everybody else in this rotation, Tim, he's going to be a tall task for these Harwich hitters.
He certainly will be, but if you're Harwich, you have to try and, realize the fact that you've already faced the 2 all-star pitchers that Brewster has left on this staff yesterday, so you should have a lot more confidence at the plate today.
Newell chops the 1-1 to second, coming across, picking it up, bobbling for a moment, but throwing in time is Freeland. He gets it to Thompson, and that'll give us an opportunity to set the defense here for the Brewster Whitecaps as Tatum Levens comes to the plate. It'll be Curtis Byrne doing the catching behind home plate. Thompson gets the start at first, Freeland at second, Zach Neto at short, Tony Bullard at third. Your outfield for the Whitecaps looks like this: Chad Castillo in left, Spencer Jones in center, and former Harwich Mariner Chris Lanzilli out in right. That does bring up Tatum Levens, who is due for a big hit, 0 for 5 with a couple of strikeouts in Game 1 yesterday, and a guy who's been a pretty solid table setter for the M's this season. He'll take strike 1 just on the inside half.
Yeah, he's done a good job in the top part of this lineup here, and I think coupling Newell with him at the top, give it a bit of a shake-up, and then you have Kavanaugh in the back end who will try to get a new look at the plate as that ball misses down low.
That misses low and inside here to Levens. Harwich, of course, comes out in their home cream unis, cream tops, cream pants. Navy numerals trimmed in red. For the Whitecaps, it's the white pants, navy blue jerseys. The fade numerals with teal at the top and that navy blue at the bottom, trimmed in pretty easy to read white, which is convenient for us broadcasters. Plenty of interesting uniform combinations, but everything in the Cape League is pretty straightforward. Count is 1-2 here on Tatum Levens. Again, batting from that left side. Mariners looking to get something started here in inning number 1, the pitch. And Levens will pop this one out into center field. Spencer Jones tracking it back, looks up, and makes the catch for out number 2.
I mean, hits it right at Jones, but that's a good swing still from Tatum Levens. Didn't look like it had all that much effort on it, but it struck pretty well, got to the pretty deep part of center field. So Harwich getting bats on balls here early on.
And a big bat coming up right now in Brock Wilkin, who was 2 for 3 with a walk yesterday, but a new accolade for Brock Wilkin. He's already a Cape League All-Star. He was already named the Harwich Mariners MVP, and, well, just before this game, Brock Wilkin was named the CCBL 2021 MVP, a very high honor, and one that I don't believe a Harwich Mariner has held in quite some time.
I mean, rightfully so that Brock Wilkin's named the MVP of the league this season. From day one all the way until now, he's just been lights out at the plate.
Wilkin will watch this in for a called strike. He falls behind 0-2, and, you know, again, you read off his numbers on the season, and they back up that MVP pedigree. 39 hits for him, batting over 300 on the year. 26 RBIs, 25 walks. But here, he will watch strike 3 called, and that'll be a 1-2-3 inning. Both pitchers have faced the minimum as we head into inning number 2. Still knotted up at 0-0. You're watching playoff baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley as we get set for inning number 2. And Tim, no surprise, no score on the scoreboard here between these two. But looking to try to get things started here is Jake Thompson, the cleanup hitter for the Whitecaps, who despite being one of the most dangerous bats in this lineup, did have a bit of a troubled day yesterday. 0 for 4 with a strikeout, and here he takes strike 1 from Eric Raiselman.
Yeah, and so far it's shaping up to be a difficult day already for Brewster.
Shaping up to be a difficult day for both of these teams. 6 batters up, 6 batters down through the first part of this as Raiselman gets out ahead 0-2. Just to remind you what Raiselman works with, a 3-pitch guy, fastball, changeup, slider. What you can expect out of the righty from San Ramon, California. Raiselman stares down for the sign, rocks into the windup, the 0-2, and that is fouled away as well.
We talked a bit about the importance of scoring first and how the team that scored first has won every game, but if you're Harwich, I mean, you just don't want to get shut out again by a Brewster team that's done that against you 3 times this season.
Yeah, the splits at Stony Brook Field have been horrendous to say the least, as Raiselman tries to get Thompson to bite at a pitch down low, can't do it, count goes to 1-2. Talking about a Brewster Whitecaps team that leads the league with 7 shutouts, 3 of those have come against the Harwich Mariners, all of them at home, and that's kind of the one downside for the M's, even if they find a way to get a victory here as this ball slapped foul down onto the left side berm. Even if they find a way to get a win, they're going to go back to Stony Brook Field where they are 0-4. They've been shut out 3 times, and they have scored 4 runs on 26 hits. They've stranded 34 runners on base, 21 in scoring position, and 10 on third base alone. I mean, those numbers are absolutely insane. As this comes inside, just about hits Thompson. Instead, it'll even the count at 2-2.
But I'm sure if you ask anybody on this Mariners team, that's exactly how they'd want to go to a championship series, is by going back to Stony Brook and exercising some demons, trying to get a win over a team that's had your number there all season long.
Yeah, no, most definitely, and that's exactly what the Mariners would like to do. You also talk about the amount of momentum they would have as that hook's just foul. That was awfully close, but it is a foul ball, says first base umpire Joe Caraco, and this game has moved so quickly, we haven't even had a chance to introduce you to our umpiring crew, and there are a couple of really important names on that, so let's go ahead and do that right now. Your home plate umpire calling the balls and strikes will be Jeff Merzel. Over at first base, it's Joe Caraco. Ronaldo Cockrum at second base, and at third base, it'll be Ryan Damari. And really, there can't be too much complaining at the 2 most important spots, that being home plate and first base. This one misses low, and that will fill the count. Jeff Merzel was honored with the Umpire of the Year award by the Cape Cod Baseball League before this game, and while Joe Caraco over at first base is a former Umpire of the Year himself, so they really do break out all the stops here for the CCBL playoffs. Raiselman's payoff pitch, swung on and taken up the middle, past the diving glove of Preisner, and the first hit of the day belongs to the Whitecaps cleanup hitter. It's 1 on, nobody out here for Chris Lanzilli, who has gone from a Harwich Mariner to a Harwich Mariner killer over these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good against the Mariners so far this season, but just to harp on Thompson for a moment here, that's the second leadoff batter so far in this game that has given Raiselman a tough time to open up the inning. Jones had a lengthy at-bat, and the Jake Thompson, after a lengthy at-bat of his own, is able to break through with a single.
So we'll see if Lanzilli can, in fact, come back to hurt Harwich again. He had the double that opened up the scoring as he was brought around to score. First pitch to him misses upstairs. Count starts off at 1-0. Mentioned some awards given out before this game. Obviously, Brock Wilken takes home the first MVP award for a Harwich Mariner since Ernie Clement in 2016. But not only did Harwich have the Cape League MVP, they also had the Cape League Pitcher of the Year in Trey Dombrowski, who got the start yesterday, unfortunately came up with the loss. He was the first outstanding pitcher given since 1997, the year before I was born, when it went to Brent Horde of Stanford. Something about Harwich and good pitchers out of Stanford. Of course, last year's Jacob Polish, certainly a candidate for that award as well. 2-0 to Lanzilli, tipped foul right off the mask of Levens, and the count goes to 2-1.
Yeah, just really an amazing year in regards to the kind of personnel that manager Steve Englert was able to bring in a guy in Dombrowski who wins Pitcher of the Year, and then Brock Wilken who wins League MVP. So a fantastic job done by him, but as well as, of course, the players who actually, they go out and they put in the work.
2-1, smashed into the glove of Codier, turns around and airmails it. That's going to get past Phillips, and that'll allow the runner to move up. There will be a throw. It won't be in time. So Max Codier makes an amazing play, turns around, tries to do a little bit too much. It does record an out, but that moves a runner into scoring position, and we've seen how dangerous that can be as Chad Castillo, a guy who has been doing all of his best work against the Mariners lately, it seems, comes to the plate, and this is a dangerous spot. Eric Raiselman is going to have to tread very lightly to this next batter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a frustrating circumstance right here. You get Codier, who does a nice play, and you put it excellently, Tyler. Does a little too much on it, and now Chad Castillo, who just yesterday had 2 RBI off of 2 singles when runners were on second base, is at the plate again with a runner on second.
See if he gets past this first pitch so I can make the point that I want to make, and he will watch the first pitch in for a called strike. In his last 3 games against the Mariners, Chad Castillo is 7 for 11, 6 RBIs, a home run, and 2 doubles. He has been seeing the ball so well against Harwich so far this year. And that has been a real problem for the M's. Of course, he drove in both of the runs that came across to score in the Brewster Whitecaps' 2-0 victory yesterday. Raiselman's 0-1 offering is chopped foul back down that third base line, and the count goes to 0-2.
You know, we'll have to see how Castillo fares at the plate here today. It was a different look from a guy in Dombrowski yesterday who relies more on his pitchability, his off-speed, fooling guys. But Raiselman, he's got a good slider. He's got a lot that works for him, but it's his heat that really is his calling card. So we'll have to see how Castillo's able to catch up to that.
It's his heat, and it's the way he's able to hide the baseball. You see him hold it almost behind him before it comes out. It's tough for guys to get a read on what's coming in. From the stretch, Raiselman's 0-2. Just misses off the outside part of the plate. Count goes to 1-2. And obviously Raiselman has been so good, but really quickly, just to go back and kind of finish the point on Dombrowski. More than likely, we're not going to see him again for the remainder of the season unless there's some kind of a rain-out situation or they can find a way to have him pitch on short rest. But kudos where kudos is due. He is rightfully the pitcher of the year in the CCBL. And if you put his numbers together, as Raiselman looks the runner back to second, brings home the 1-2, that'll miss up and out. If you put together his 2 seasons at Monmouth and his 1 summer on the Cape, the numbers are ridiculous. 109 innings pitched throughout his collegiate career, a 2.53 ERA, 130 strikeouts to only 15 walks, and, oh yeah, by the way, Trey Dombrowski hasn't given up a home run since high school.
Just video game numbers in a very literal sense. You hear that thrown around a lot, but that is a perfect example of where a guy just is able to come in as the pitch misses down low and the count runs full and just dominate. To come in out of a school that not many people know about and dominate the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's amazing. It was such a joy to watch all season long.
But he passes on the torch to someone who's been almost as good this year in his own right, and Eric Raiselman, who again is the other of the, well, 2 out of the 3 Harwich All-Star pitchers, starters that is, but the only 2 that are still here on the Cape. Payoff pitch, swung on, taken up the middle. This will have a chance to get through, and it will. Coming in from center is Newell. They'll go ahead and hold the runner up at third, so Jake Thompson holds up, but that does put runners on the corners for Tony Bullard.
Yeah, that's a frustrating at-bat there for Raiselman. He got ahead in the count, 0-2 if you'll remember, and then fell behind, had to face off against a full count against a guy in Castillo who knows how to swing the bat, and ultimately left it in a spot where Castillo was able to pull it into center field. So he's got to work carefully here now with back part of the order coming up and only 1 out with 2 on.
Tony Bullard also due for a big hit. Another guy who went 0 for 3 yesterday. Did reach on a walk, and he is looking to drive in the first runs of the day for the Brewster Whitecaps. Raiselman trying to avoid that first pitch, fouled away, and middle infielders a double play depth. We've seen how good the middle of this infield is for Harwich between Codier and Preisner, and that would be a dream scenario if the Mariners can turn 2 here.
You know, certainly, and these are 2 of the guys who you want to have on the base paths who can take care of that.
Brock Wilkin not playing in right now, so it looks like Harwich not overly eager to try to cut a runner down at home. As Raiselman misses inside, count goes to 1-1.
It gets to a point sometimes where you can play too much small ball in the infield and just get in your own way. So just rely on your traditional infielding skills and get yourself out of the inning otherwise.
Raiselman working on a 1-1 count right now, still working out of the stretch. Next fastball, 93 miles an hour. That'll miss outside. Count goes to 2-1.
Because this is not a game where Harwich expects to not score any runs by any means necessary. You know, one of the best offenses on the Cape this league in this season. So if they give up a run, they full well expect to make up for it.
Plenty of opportunities abound, but right now trying to keep runs off the board before they can worry about putting anything on. That'll help as Raiselman gets a 2-1 foul tip, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes here on Tony Bullard. Curtis Burns standing in the on-deck circle, an 0-for-4 day with a couple of strikeouts for him yesterday. But right now, it is Tony Bullard trying to drive in Jake Thompson at third. The team that scored first has won every game between these two this year. The 2-2. Just inside. That'll fill the count here on Tony Bullard.
Yeah, Raiselman a bit frustrated. Not sure he thought he had it, but definitely didn't leave it where he wanted to, and now another full count here.
Eric Raiselman stares in for the sign. Runners at the corners. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 away here in the inning. The payoff pitch. Runner goes for second. It's going to be ball 4. They do throw down. Now they got a run down between third and home. Throw to Levins at the plate, and he got him. Max Codier cuts down the runner at the plate. Brewster tries to get risky with it, and that's going to put out number 2 on the board. And now they're going to call batter's interference, and it's the, well, can't quite call it a strike him out, throw him out. How about a walk him, throw down to second, throw back to the plate, apply the tag, runner's interference, double play, and that will end the inning. So Harwich catches the kind of breaks they haven't gotten all season long. Jamie Shevchuk not too happy about it, but he will head back to his dugout as his defense comes back into the field. Still a 0-0 ball game here at White House Field. You're listening to Playoff Baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. A clarification, as we had to spend a lot of time with everybody up here. It was a group effort up here in the booth trying to figure out what happened. Ultimately, Tony Bullard was actually called out on a strikeout, but they had to appeal because he checked his swing, and while they were appealing, Tatum Levins threw the ball down to second. Codier grabbed it and threw it back home, and they caught Jake Thompson trying to take home. So ultimately, it's a lot more simple than it appeared at first glance. It's a strike him out, throw him out of the odd variety as the ball comes back home. Any way you want to slice it, the score is still 0-0. And Dylan Phillips will lead things off here for the Harwich Mariners in inning number 2. And it feels like so many times against the Brewster Whitecaps this year, none of the breaks have gone Harwich's way. The 50-50 balls, whether it's fair or foul, anything in the outfield, a couple of those odd plays, soft contact, everything has gone against Harwich. Already today, they've caught in 2 of those breaks, and you just wonder if that might help them break out against the Whitecaps here in this one, as Dylan Phillips gets ultimately a swinging bunt. It'll be picked up by Bullard. It won't be picked up by Bullard. He can't get the bare hand on it. And just as we're talking about breaks going the Mariners' way, an E5 puts the leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, if you're Harwich, keep your foot on the gas pedal. I mean, this is a moment where Brewster is a little stunned at the moment. They're not quite sure what exactly just happened. It took a moment, I think, for everyone in the ballpark to understand what happened, and only because we're looking at the live stats, I think we might be 2 of the only people at White House Field who knows how that inning ends. It ended, but you take that as well with the ball to third.
Yep, of course. All the props on that go to our official scorer from the league, Vic, sitting off to our right. Great work all season long for the Chatham Anglers, for the Harwich Mariners, for all 10 teams in the CCBL. And great to have him on hand as well. Also want to throw out a shout out, as always, to our producer, Matt Lucy, and to our social media extraordinaire, Colin Casey today. Also Chris Cassidy handling PA duties in this one. 1-0 the count right now to Carter Putz. Leadoff man aboard. Pitch on the way. Putz will foul this one back to the screen. Count evens at 1-1. And Tim, I think one of the other storylines in this game that you and I haven't had a chance to talk about, one of the All-Stars for this Brewster Whitecaps team, Bryce Hubbard, has already departed the Cape. The other two pitched yesterday. You've got a good starter here in Teddy, but once they knock him out of the game, I mean, this is still a good, capable, deep bullpen, but you feel like you like your chances if you're Harwich, if you can get the starter out of there early, especially if you have a lead in this game, and really try to go at some of these other arms that, let's face it, the Mariners just haven't had to face this year.
No, this is a Mariners lineup that is fully capable of taking advantage of any pitching staff in the league with the numbers they've put up all year long. So with Brewster now not having three of their all-star arms available here today, you have to feel like this is your game to come out and put up a performance.
The 1-2 to Putz, chopped foul. He continues to do what he can to fight off and stay alive. That's the third straight pitch he's fouled back to the same spot of the screen. As newly established 6-hole hitter Press Kavanaugh stands in the on-deck circle, and you wonder if that might light a fire under him after being in the leadoff spot for the Mariners throughout most of their big run. Reasonable lead for Dylan Phillips on first. Next offering misses outside. Good stop there by Curtis Byrne. And the count evens at 2-2. Obviously, this game is pivotal for a number of reasons, the biggest of which and the most obvious of which is that if Harwich loses, their season is over. But let's also not kid ourselves right now. You look at what Harwich has done lately. They're 3-5-1 in their last 9 games. This is a team that kind of is sputtering here into the postseason, and a big victory over a team like the Whitecaps that has had their number could be exactly what they need. As this ball skips off and catches Byrne in an uncomfortable spot.
It does feel like Harwich is in need of a game to kind of snap them back into a rhythm. It's been a bit of a rough going. They've been shut out by Brewster down the stretch here, and so it's been a little tough for them. But you have to imagine this is a Harwich team that, should they be able to have a good day at the plate today, they could very well ride that kind of momentum through the rest of the playoffs should they be able to pull a win out here.
I mean, it really is incredible when you look at it, because this is a Mariners team that put 6 All-Stars, the most offensively in the league, at the top of their order. As Putz chops this one to second, this could be trouble. Coming in, picking it up, throwing to first in time is Zach Neto. Does advance the runner to second, though, in Dylan Phillips, and it brings up Press Kavanaugh. But really quickly, just to go back and finish that point as Kavanaugh gets ready to stand in. You look at some of these games. Harwich was shut out by Brewster, but let's also not forget a rough 2-2 tie to Orleans the day before that. The day before that, they were shut out by that same Orleans team 1-0 on the road. For as great as this offense looks on paper, it has struggled at times throughout the course of these last 5 games or so, and it's so critical to try to get these guys not just hitting, but hitting together again.
I think that's part of why you see the lineup change, putting Newell back at the top of the order and then shifting Kavanaugh back down. Kavanaugh, a guy who, despite being in the hunt for the batting title in the league, did have a few tough games down the stretch, and now you have Newell, who has hit towards the top of the order, trying to slot himself there again.
Kavanaugh trying to get himself going here. Fouls the first pitch he sees off. Count goes to 0-1. And while Harwich may have slowed down a bit offensively down the home straightaway, again, you look at this lineup. You've got the 6 All-Stars at the top, including the league MVP and Brock Wilkin, a guy in Press Kavanaugh who finishes second in the batting title race, and then the bottom 3 guys in the order have all filled things out very well. 0-1 pitch, misses low and inside, and actually a quick correction, the 5 All-Stars at the top, and then Dylan Phillips, who obviously if he had been here at the beginning of the season would have had the numbers, but came in so late for the Mariners. He's played so well for Harwich through these last 25 games, it's hard to forget, or it's easy to forget that he's not an All-Star.
It certainly is. I mean, he's come in and he's acted like he's been here all season long. It's been amazing to watch how he's come in and handled himself.
1-1 to Kavanaugh, sent to second. Should be easy pickings for Freeland, who throws on to first in time for the second out of the inning. And now it'll be up to Zach Preisner to try to drive in the first run of this ballgame.
I mean, I like this situation if you're Harwich here. You have 3 productive at-bats so far. Phillips gets on first. Putz moves him across to second, and then Kavanaugh moves him up to third. And now you have a guy in Zach Preisner who's been hitting lights out, save for yesterday where he was in a bit of a slump, 0 for 4. He's going to have to come in here now. You need contact. You need something to get down somewhere. And you have a great chance here to drive across the game's first run.
And while everybody else started to cool off a little bit, Zach Preisner started to heat up throughout the last week or two of the regular season. First offering to him will miss low. Count goes to 1-0. And now that we're a couple of innings into this game, this is the best crowd that I have ever seen at White House Field. Both of the hills are filled. There are fans all around the outside or the outfield fence. Both bleachers are filled. There's standing room only. I mean, this place is popping for Game 2 of the championship series. As this one is fouled away. The Eastern Division Championship Series, of course. So the count is 1-1 here on Zach Preisner, who did have a rough day at the plate yesterday, 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. But again, depending on how you want to look at it, he is due for a big hit. And this could be a very big hit. Dylan Phillips standing just 90 feet away. The 1-1 misses in the dirt. Count goes to 2-1 here on Preisner.
If you're Harwich, you know, beyond just getting the first run across, you want to make McGraw work a bit here. He's sat down 5 of the first 6 batters he's faced, and he's only thrown so many pitches so far in this game, as Raiselman's had to work a lot more on the other side of things.
And has not surrendered a hit yet. As this one gets across for a called strike, count goes to 2-2. Still very early to be talking about that, but it is fair. The one runner standing 90 feet away did reach on an error, so no hits on the scoreboard for the M's so far. Preisner looking for the first against a really solid starter here in Teddy McGraw. McGraw working out of the stretch with the runner on third. The righty kicks and fires. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Preisner is down on strikes for the 3rd time in 2 days. And Harwich strands yet another runner 90 feet away. To the 3rd we go. Still knotted up at 0 from White House Field. You're watching playoff baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to a very special postseason edition of Harwich Mariners baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley as we get set for the 3rd inning of this one. Due up here for the Whitecaps, it'll be Curtis Byrne, Porter Brown, and then back to the top of the order in Spencer Jones. And Harwich has been good offensively this year. We've talked about some of the numbers they've put together here in 2021, but it seems like whenever they get a great pitching performance, they struggle to put runs up on the other side. It's been this bizarre phenomenon that we've witnessed here in 2021, but it's been an issue for Harwich so far this year, and a guy who's been a victim of that twice already is the man on the mound here in Eric Raiselman, whose first offering is swung on and lifted high in the air, but right out to center field. Chris Newell will take about a half step to his left and make the catch for out number 1.
And that's what you want if you're Raiselman. Good quick out to start this inning. He's already got a pretty decent pitch count going here today. That was his 35th pitch through 2 complete innings. Now, of course, 2 1/3, but you want to try to keep that down because you need him to go as long as possible. You need every pitcher to have some longevity here in the postseason.
Especially with how thin the Harwich Mariners are right now as Brown watches the first pitch for a ball. But to go back to that point, Raiselman had an appearance where he pitched 5 innings, did not allow a run, did not allow a hit, had 9 strikeouts, only 2 walks. He did not record a win that day, and that's been commonplace. As this one's picked up at second by Codier, throw to first in time for the 2nd out of the inning. 2 phenomenal 6-inning outings from Evan Shaver, 2 phenomenal 5-inning outings from Andrew Mosiello, and 2 incredible 6-inning outings from Trey Dombrowski. Add another one last night. None of those resulted in victories. You can look at the totals, you can look at the individual stats, but really it boils down to one thing. Whether Eric Raiselman is on his game, which appears so far he is or not, Harwich is going to have to get him some run support.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it early in the season as first pitch is in for a called strike where it was kind of all or nothing when it came to the pitching and the batting. Either the pitching would show up or the bats would show up. And then there was a good stretch in the middle of the season where both would appear, but you need that back now if you're Harwich.
This ball taken up the middle by Porter Brown, who again struggled throughout the majority of the season. He's a big bat. Or correction, by Spencer Jones, as Brown grounded out a batter ago. So Jones is aboard here, just the 3rd hit of the day for the Whitecaps, and that brings up Alex Freeland.
And if you're Harwich, you don't want this to start happening here where you're able to record the first 2 outs, but then it's another lengthy inning. We've seen that a bit recently from them, so it's about starting off an inning good and then shutting it down thereafter.
So at the dish now is Freeland, who is 0 for 3 in this series, 0 for 3 in the postseason with 1 strikeout. Looking for his first hit. First offering to him misses in the dirt. There is another game going on here in the CCBL playoffs. Of course, only 4 teams making it, 2 in the East and 2 in the West. And Katuitt got a 15-6 victory over the Bourne Braves yesterday. A bit of a shocker for a team that had really poor pitching this year, but they hang their hats on offense. You score 15 runs, you're not going to lose very many games unless you're Hyannis. So a big victory for them yesterday. The thought was, well, you know, again, we referenced the stat during the Open. No team has come back down 1-0 in a postseason series since the Brewster Whitecaps in 2017. But the Bourne Braves have responded. They lead it 7-1 in the top of the 8th out at Lowell Park in Katuitt.
Yeah, that's shaping up for an interesting game tomorrow. 2 back-to-back blowouts on the other sides of the ball. So we'll have to see just how tomorrow's game plays out, should Katuitt not be able to come back.
Raiselman working out of the stretch here, has a 2-0 count on Alex Freeland, brings home the next pitch, and that'll be fouled off the rooftop of the press box here. Count goes to 2-1. Mariners looking for another good inning here out of Raiselman. Again, hoping he can stretch himself out, go 5, maybe even 6 innings in this game. The 2-1, that'll miss upstairs. Count goes to 3-1.
You know, kind of Harwich's approach from here on out, you know, beyond tonight, you know, for the rest of the night and tomorrow, should they see it, is really just everybody all contribute. You know, everybody right behind these 2 starters Harwich has had and contribute best they can.
3-1, that'll miss inside, so it's going to be a 5-pitch walk issued to Alex Freeland, and with 2 away, there are 2 on for the Whitecaps, and here comes Zach Neto. Again, you keep giving a guy like Neto opportunities, sooner or later he's going to cash in, and he is still looking to get a little more comfortable, is 1 for 3 this postseason with a run scored. See if he can be the man that delivers the Whitecaps their first run here.
Yeah, Raiselman, you just want to stay settled. You're able to get the first 2 outs pretty quickly, so that has you in a good spot here. Now you have a force out at 3 separate bases, so plenty of opportunity for an out to be drawn.
Raiselman has been a high-volume strikeout pitcher this year. So far in this game, he has recorded 8 outs. He has just 1 K on the day. But we saw something similar yesterday with Trey Dombrowski, who is a very high-volume strikeout guy. This is just not a Brewster Whitecaps team that strikes out a lot. Raiselman looks back to second, brings home the first pitch. Neto fouls it away, falls behind here 1-2.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It took a while for, you know, the first Whitecap to actually be struck out. It was Trey Faltini at the end of towards the end of the 3rd inning. So once again here, it's been relatively low strikeout numbers in this game for Brewster.
Whitecaps trying to avoid recording one more out here. Harwich looking to get it. They could use one right now. Raiselman sets, kicks and delivers the 0-1. That comes inside, and for the 2nd time in this series, that is going to plunk Zach Neto.
Time was called, though, so... Oh, except it looks like they will send the batter down to first base despite time being called late before the pitch.
And right now, home plate umpire, and again, the guy who was just named Umpire of the Year, Jeff Merzell, having a conversation about this with Tatum Levens. No argument from Coach Steve Angler. We do see him come out and defend his guys if he feels like anything has been called incorrectly. So that's going to load the bases for the cleanup man, Jake Thompson, who just got his first hit of the series. He's 1 for 5, and now Levens is going to come out and have a word with Raiselman about how to approach this next batter. This is not an ideal situation for the Mariners after recording 2 quick outs.
No, it's been a frustrating inning here for Raiselman, to say the least. I mean, the single on Jones, the walk on Freeland, and then just then again on Neto. Time called late, first off. So if a pitch had gotten into the strike zone, likely would not have counted. Ends up hitting the batter, and they send him down to first anyway. So a very tough break, and you're in need of a big out here on Thompson.
And time was called incredibly late there, but yeah, I thought that they were going to grant it. Instead, it results in a hit by pitch. Raiselman's put 2 of the 3 guys on himself. His first offering misses low and inside. Good stop there by Levens, but the count goes 1-0 to Jake Thompson. And kind of going back to that point about how this Brewster Whitecaps team does not strike out a lot. They do have 368 Ks this year as a lineup, 171 walks for them. Count goes to 2-0. That 171 mark throughout the course of the regular season, one of the top marks in the Cape League. And now Coach Steve Gruenberg is going to come out and have a word with Eric Raiselman as somebody who stands up and heads towards us out in the bullpen. Looks like that might be Matthew Pushard.
Fans are reminded that at every home game this season, we hold a 50-50
So things getting interesting here, Tim. Bases loaded, and obviously a run is not a death sentence, but it is one of those stats that we have to keep in mind. The team that scored first has won all 6 meetings between these two. 5 times this year, it's been the Brewster Whitecaps.
Yeah, it's a big turning point here in the game. It certainly feels that way because if Harwich, you go down early against a team that has kept the lead on you every single time they've taken the lead, you're going to know. I mean, in the back of their minds, you have to feel Harwich understands that not being able to score first is going to be a huge blow to them.
Yeah, Harwich has come from behind to surpass Brewster just once this season at Stony Brook Field. They took a 4-3 lead before a 5-run inning for the Whitecaps granted them an 8-4 victory. Next offering, that misses upstairs as well, and now it's a 3-0 count to Jake Thompson with nowhere to put him. Spencer Jones on third, Alex Freeland on second, Zach Neto on first, Jake Thompson at the dish, likely taking all the way here, and he will take strike one.
And Raiselman's going to come right back at you. He was behind 3-0, but expect a few pitches over the plate. He does not like to mess around in counts like this.
3-1. Raiselman looking for one more out to get out of this jam. The pitch. And that will miss low and outside. Ball 4, and the first run of the day belongs to the Brewster Whitecaps on a walk by Eric Raiselman, and the bases are still loaded for Chris Lanzilli.
The complexion of this inning is drastically different from what it was across the first 2 batters. They were quick outs on Byrne and Brown, but the last 4 have each gotten on, and this is turning into a disaster of an inning here for Harwich.
And this is pivotal. They need to get it out before anything else comes across. Raiselman's first offering is going to just miss inside here to Lanzilli, who again this series is 1 for 3, a double and a run scored. Used to play for these very Mariners back in 2019. Did not do the Mariners any favors in the postseason. Just 1 hit. He was in the lineup every day. Harwich played all the way to the final game of the championship series. Chris Lanzilli recorded just 1 hit in the postseason. He has been much better here 2 years removed for the Whitecaps, and he's looking for a monstrous hit here. The 1-1 from Raiselman. Swung on and popped high in the air. This one should do it for the inning as the 2 middle infielders converge, and it will be packing up and making the catch, Max Codier. So the Whitecaps strand the bases loaded, but do bring one across on a walked-in Spencer Jones. It's 1-0 Brewster. Harwich back up to bat when we come back. You're watching the CCBL playoffs here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to the ballpark, Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. Another inning of work coming up here for Teddy McGraw. He will face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Mariners, Jordan Beck, Max Codier, and Chris Newell. And it really does feel like the Mariners need to find a way to get a run on the board here. It doesn't seem like that much when you're looking at just a 1-run deficit, but this is where Harwich has been living against the Brewster Whitecaps, down by just 1 or 2, no runs on the scoreboard. That's kind of been the story this year, and the Mariners trying everything they can to make sure that that is not their fate here in a do-or-die game 2. This ball is going to be taken high in the air out into that Bermuda Triangle, but it hangs up for a long time and allows Neto to track it out and make the catch. And Jordan Beck is retired for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, you really don't like being down by a run, especially against a Brewster team that's had a lot of success in tight games this season. 3-1 on the year in these 1-run games, and Harwich the inverse, 1-3 when it comes down to a tight game. So you want to get back in front, and you want to try to open it up.
Does bring up Max Codier, the 9-hole hitter here for the Mariners. Had a pretty good day yesterday, 2 for 3 for him. One of the few bright spots in a game in which Harwich got a lot of guys on, didn't bring anybody across to score, and that's been kind of the theme for the Mariners as Codier takes this first pitch. You look at the series between these two this year throughout the 6 games that have been played, Harwich has stranded 51 runners on base. They have left 29 this year in scoring position just against the Whitecaps.
Yeah, yesterday followed that script exactly. It was 11 left on, 7 in scoring position. Just another brutal day for the Mariners on the base pads.
But a new day today and an opportunity to turn that fate around here at home as the 1-1 is fouled away by Codier. With the top of the order looming, Harwich trying to string some hits together. Still a very manageable situation, but you just wonder if Harwich might be in their own heads a little bit, as they have seen this movie time and time again.
And that certainly has to be a part of it to an extent. Baseball is such a mental sport.
1-2, fouled off just on the wrong side of the bag for Codier.
You know, when you see a team so often throughout a season and they're able to just beat you in a very similar fashion each and every time, it can be frustrating to then have to face off against them in the playoffs. And again, a lot of the same going on here today for the Mariners.
1-2 to Codier. That'll miss up and outside. Good watch there. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Did get an official note from the league. There will not be an off day granted in between playoff series. So as soon as both teams that will advance to the championship series do so, it'll be time for that series to be played as Codier watches this outside. That being said, it looks like there might be a third day of this opening round regardless, because the Bourne Braves lead the Catuit Cavaliers 8-1 in the top of the 8th inning. If that score holds, there will need to be a Game 3 tomorrow, regardless of what happens here at White House Field. Payoff pitch. Codier chops this one to short. Zach Neto misplays it, and that's a rare miscue from one of the best defensive shortstops in the CCBL, but you wonder with that time off if he was going to be a little more susceptible to making mistakes, and the Mariners have a runner aboard here, the tying run with 1 out.
And he did have a bit of a shaky play yesterday as well in the infield. It was ultimately ruled a hit, but it was on a ball that we've seen shortstops play all season long. So back-to-back days here where Neto has had an interesting situation over at shortstop. And Harwich, again, much like last inning, you want to take advantage of any breaks you can get.
And here,
you only got Phillips third last time, and you want to move Codier further around this time.
and McGraw's taken some time. He wanted to do a check over to first. Nothing doing there. Does keep Codier close. Now he'll have to face Chris Newell. And yesterday was such a critical day for Newell because he did have that home run in his first game back coming off of the injury, which is always good to see. As here he'll take strike 1 at the letters. But throughout those games leading up to the postseason, Chris Newell was 3 for 27. That home run, one of just 3 hits that he had. Wondered what his health would look like coming into this series, and it looked good yesterday as Newell was able to go 2 for 4. He gets moved up to the leadoff spot today, and while he is in the top of the order, he still has plenty of power to boot. The 0-1 misses well outside. Count evens at 1 apiece here on Chris Newell.
And this is another guy who you need to have come online once again here if you're Harwich, when talking about guys who have hit a bit of a slump coming into the postseason. You said it, Tyler. He's got power. He's got plenty of speed. If he can bring it back to what he was doing before he went down again in that game against YD, then he'll be in a great spot, and he'll put his team in a great spot.
Another check over to first, and again, why not Harwich has probably been, we don't have the stats on it, but we imagine Harwich has been picked off between first and second or at first base more than any other team in the league throughout the course of this season, including a number of times against these very Brewster Whitecaps.
Fortunately enough for Harwich, I think most of those have come against lefties, so they got a bit of a break facing off against a righty today.
1-1, misses up and away. Byrne tries to frame it, can't do so. Count goes to 2-1. Chris Newell, you look at his pedigree going into that All-Star break, if you want to call it that. There was, of course, no All-Star game or a break, really. Going into the All-Star selections, Chris Newell had one of the most impressive pedigrees of any of these Mariners players. Takes a big cut at this pitch and evens the count at 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing fantastic. He had a stretch where he hit 4 home runs across 8 games, and it just seemed like night in and night out he was good for 2 hits and an RBI.
And good day, bad day, it didn't really matter. You can't take the smile off of Chris Newell's face. One of the things we've grown accustomed to here in 2021. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Newell becomes the 3rd strikeout victim of Teddy McGraw. 2 away.
Tough break for Harwich there. Really nice at-bat for McGraw at the mound, as his stuff was clearly working in that at-bat, and now you have your backs against the wall here for your Harwich again with a runner on base. You don't want to leave another guy stranded early in this game.
Does bring up another all-star here in Tatum Levens. His last hit came in that 2-2 tie with the Orleans Firebirds. He had a double in that one to lead things off, scored the first run. Since then, he is 0 for his last 10. Looking for a breakout here with a runner on first, trying to keep the inning alive for Harwich. Takes a big cut at the first pitch he sees and comes up empty. Count starts off at 0-1.
Yeah, he was trying to put Harwich in the lead with that swing just there. We haven't seen that much power recently from Levens. You mentioned it. Hasn't had a hit in a while, but he is one of the top double guys in the league, and that's something Harwich desperately wants to get back after having just 1 extra base hit yesterday.
And Codier's got good speed. Anything in the gap has a chance to score him. This is a very good defensive Brewster outfield, but you do wonder if you might try to test him in a critical game like this, especially against a team that you've struggled to score runs against so far this season. Levens digging in right now from that left side. Runner on first, 2 away. McGraw's offering. This one's going to be taken down into left center field. That'll get down, and they will go ahead and wave Codier to third base. It's going to be runners at the corners for the Cape League MVP in Brock Wilkin, and the Mariners have life here in the 3rd.
I mean, that's a huge clutch hit from a guy who's been trying to find the success he had earlier this season, and really no surprise when you think about it for Levens, considering how excellent he's been at home when it comes to getting on base. So a big hit there to move around Codier, and the Cape League MVP, winner of the Pat Sorrenti MVP award, coming up to bat.
That is for the Harwich Mariners, just their 2nd hit of the day. At least on the scoreboard. Either way, Wilkin digs in. Huge moment right now with runners at the corners. The tying run 90 feet away, and the first offering to Wilkin is in there for a strike. And this is the difference between Brewster pitchers and basically everyone else that's faced Wilkin this year. He's getting a lot of early strikes.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of pitchers afraid to pitch to Wilkin. Leads the league in walks, and rightfully so. He's just such a threat when he steps in the box, and pitchers learned that pretty quickly, but Brewster not so afraid.
0-1 swung on and missed at a pitch in the dirt, and this has kind of been the theme for him against Brewster. One of the few teams that will pitch to him right away. He's almost used to taking that first pitch because typically it's not anything within the same zip code of the strike zone. Brewster gets ahead, and then they can bait him into swinging at some of these bad pitches, and McGraw's got him behind 0-2.
I mean, it did work out for him yesterday. Went 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a walk, just the 1 strikeout.
0-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Wilkin not happy about it, and that is how the inning will end. Harwich strands yet another runner on third base, and it's still 1-0 Whitecaps here from White House Field. We'll step away when we come back. To the 4th we go. It's 1-0 Brewster here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Game 2 of the CCBL series in the Eastern Division. And for the next 3 innings of play-by-play, my broadcast partner, Tim Foley.
Thank you, Tyler. As Eric Rieselman back on the mound for his 4th inning of work. It's been a bit of a shaky start for the righty as his first pitch into Chad Castillo misses for a ball and gets away from Levens. So far on the day, Rieselman, he's given up 3 hits and 1 run. And last inning was the shakiest inning by far for Rieselman. Got the first 2 batters out pretty quickly as he delivers the 1-0 pitch up high, count now 2-0. Recorded the first 2 outs and then gave up a single, a walk, hit a batter, and gave up another walk to ultimately bring around Spencer Jones for the game's first run. 2-0 pitch finds a way in. So for Rieselman, it's about finding a way to bounce back, settle down, and have a clean inning. Had a clean 1-2-3 first inning, but is trying to have another solid inning for the first time really since then. 2-1 pitch. This ball's hit on the ground. Codier steps to his right, picks it up. Throw to first is in time, 1 away.
And that feels like a big out because, again, Castillo has just been so good against the Mariners. That's one of the few times they've gotten him out this entire series. So you pick up a quick out, you give yourself a chance to go at the bottom part of this order. And, you know, you talked about it a little bit with the pitch count of Rieselman. He could use a quick inning here just to get back into the dugout and give the bats a chance. Down by 1 and give him a chance to maybe go a few more innings here in this one.
Rieselman already in this game in the mid-50s when it comes to his pitch count, as he now faces off against Tony Bullard, who will pull this ball out to left field. Press Kavanaugh pacing over. Back it goes. Gone! Tony Bullard hits a home run to left field to give the Whitecaps their 2nd run of the game and make this a 2-0 game.
Yep, first home run of the series belongs to Tony Bullard, and it's a big one. I mean, 2-0. This is the same score that the Brewster Whitecaps won by yesterday, and it just feels like the Mariners, I mean, they're not going to have any wind in their sails here. They stranded guys on third base in the last 2 innings, and even their best pitcher, one of their best pitchers in Eric Rieselman, you know, not invincible, and now they're down by 2. Still plenty of time left in this one, but this has just been the hardest situation for the Mariners to come back from. Down by any amount of runs to this Brewster Whitecaps team.
And for Tony Bullard, not somebody who has all that much power. I mean, just 1 extra base hit on the season. That was a double earlier in the year. And so coming through with his first Cape Cod Baseball League home run in a big moment. It's now a 1-1 count to the catcher, Curtis Byrne. You said it, Tyler. There's still plenty of time left in this game, but we've also talked about it as the 1-1 pitch is fouled back, where Harwich, you struggled so much against the Whitecaps. Like, you need to have a solid breakout inning. They had that the last time these 2 teams actually faced off here at White House Field. Harwich was good for a big inning on the scoreboard, scored 4 in the 4th inning and 5 in the 6th inning the last time the Whitecaps were here in Harwich. So you're going to need some more of that here today. It's a 2-2 count now to Curtis Byrne. The pitch. This one's going to be pulled fair down the third base line. Byrne's going to round first. He'll dig for second. Kavanaugh digging back in the corner for the ball. He'll throw it down to Preisner, the cutoff man. And after a home run, puts the Whitecaps up 2. They have a double with now a man in scoring position.
And again, we can't express how critical trying to limit the damage is in this inning. You don't want the Whitecaps to roll out to a bigger lead than what they already have. Again, 2 runs against any other team in the CCBL may seem okay, but 2 runs is a lot when you're facing off against a pitching staff that's been this good. You let that get any further out of hand, and, well, it could be a long night here for the Mariners.
So now in steps Porter Brown. Grounded out to second in his first at-bat. This pitch is going to miss on the outside, 1-0. And if you're Harwich, it really just feels like the same thing you have experienced time and time again here in this game. You had the hope playoff atmosphere would maybe shake things up from the get-go. It's been a lot of the same. As count now 1-1, and Harwich, when trailing, have not had the greatest success this season. Of course, earlier in the game, they trail. They're typically able to come back in a decent manner as the 1-1 pitch from Rieselman is on the way. That'll miss outside. Count here goes to 2-1. When trailing after 3 innings so far this season, Harwich 6-7-2. So not the greatest splits, but you have to be confident in the fact that there's still plenty of baseball left, and you have found ways to win this season when you're down early. So it's about doing that again here. 2-1 pitch, a big swing and a miss from Porter Brown, and the count now evens out at 2-2.
And a strikeout could go a long way here for Raiselman. Obviously, the Mariners do have Pushert up and warming out in that bullpen, but you just wonder, again, even if it's just one more inning, even if it's just the end of this inning, you need Raiselman to get it to the finish line of the fourth at the very least before you turn things over to your bullpen.
This will be pitch number 69 for Eric Raiselman coming up. 2-2 pitch is fouled up and away.
And that's kind of been the one thing with Raiselman. He's been so good this year, but we don't see him extend beyond that 5, sometimes 6-inning mark very much, if ever. So typically a guy that's going to give you 4 to 5 really good innings, and then that's going to be about it. That's all you can really hope to get from him. And with the pitch count as high as it is, you just wonder how deep into this game he might be able to go.
2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes Brown. That's the second strikeout of the day for Eric Raiselman. Through the lineup 2 times, so not the volume of strikeouts we're used to getting from Raiselman. Through the lineup 2 times.
And this is a critical out to try to get. Spencer Jones, top of the order up here. You've got Freeland due up next. I mean, they need to find a way to get one more out quickly, and then again, they have to find a way to get on the board in these middle couple of innings.
For Raiselman, his longest outing of the season, for those at home who were wondering, was a 6-inning outing as Spencer Jones takes ball 1 up high. 6-inning outing in a 7-4 win over the Bourne Braves at Doran Park. Gave up just the 2 earned runs and struck out 7. It's a very effective outing. In fact, for Raiselman, really interesting line here as he brings home the 1-0 pitch for a called strike. In each of his last 3 starts for the Mariners, Eric Raiselman, 7 strikeouts and 1 walk. Each in the last outing he had against Brewster, outing before that against Bourne, and before that at Chatham. It's a 1-1 count here to Jones, the pitch. This one's going to be choked on, hit out towards left, and that'll land just foul. Count goes to 1-2.
And Raiselman is not traditionally a starter. You're talking about a guy that threw more than 3 innings at San Francisco just 3 times all season long. The longest of those outings, a 6-inning appearance against Gonzaga that came back just before he entered here, back on May 23rd. So, I mean, again, a guy who's been stretching himself out a little bit more in a different type of role and has looked very good, but you can only expect so much out of him when it comes to the longevity.
Yeah, certainly he has been asked to do a lot this summer. And that's typically the goal you'll see at times as the 1-2 pitch hit off the end of the bat. Wilkin picks it up, throw on to first in time for the out. And that will end the inning. So we head now towards the home half of the 4th. Harwich now trailing by 2 thanks to a Tony Bullard solo shot out to left. It's 2-0 Whitecaps. We'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here for Game 2 of the 2021 Cape Cod Baseball League Eastern Division Playoff Series. Mariners fans, Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom. Explore undergraduate programs including new majors in sport and recreation management, graphic design, marketing, and computer science online at www.curry.edu. Once again, welcome back here for the bottom of the fourth inning. Dylan Phillips leads it off for the Mariners as they now find themselves in a 2-0 hole here against the Brewster Whitecaps. Harwich, their backs against the wall here today after suffering a defeat yesterday at the hands of these Whitecaps, trying to come out and even up this best-of-3 playoff series. And it has not been easy for Harwich to score runs so far this season against the Whitecaps.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that they had the one big offensive outburst. That's where most of their runs this season have come. As
Phillips pulls this one into right, that's going to get down past the running Chris Lanzilli. Phillips is going to dig for second. He'll get there safely. Leadoff man is on here for the Mariners. And as we are talking about their offensive woes, I think Dylan Phillips heard us and said, hey, let me show you what I can do, as he pulls that ball into the outfield and puts Harwich in a good spot to open up this inning.
Yeah, but as we know well against the Whitecaps, it doesn't mean anything if you can't find a way to get him across home plate. So this is where the true test comes for the Mariners. Fortunately, they have one of their best situational hitters in Carter Putz at the dish right now, trying to, if not drive the run in, keep the inning going here and at least put runners at the corners.
Yeah. Harwich shut out yesterday, of course. They did get the leadoff man on 5 times yesterday, so it is about following up here. But you mentioned Carter Putz and all that he has done, and he really just has been phenomenal this season. I mean, coming into the postseason batting .393, 11 of 28 with 12 RBI whenever anybody is standing in scoring position. So a chance to test that average here against Teddy McGraw, who's still on the mound for the Whitecaps. And this ball is going to be hit. Running back is Thompson. That's going to get down into the outfield. Dylan Phillips will hold up at third base, and Carter Putz stands on first. Mariners now have runners on the corners with nobody out.
You hate to even say it like this or phrase it like this, but if Harwich doesn't find a way to score one run with a runner on third and nobody out, they've been in this situation throughout the series, that might be it. I mean, again, we're talking about a game that has 6 innings left, but this is just the reality of the Mariners situation. They have first and third, nobody out. They've got a great part of the order due up here. Kavanaugh, Preisner, Beck. You have to get at least one run here. Let's see if they can knuckle down and do it. They've got a guy who finished second in the batting title due up now in Press Kavanaugh.
It happened yesterday in the second inning where Carter Putz got on with a leadoff single. As Press Kavanaugh is going to hit this one over to short. Double play is turned as Neto stepped on the bag and the throw was made to first in time, but Dylan Phillips does come home to score, and the Mariners get their first run of the 2021 Cape Cod Baseball League playoffs.
Yeah, and you'll trade that any day of the week, obviously, and now Preisner comes up with 2 away and the base is empty, but that run feels so huge for a Mariners team that, again, has been shut out 3 times already by Brewster. Guys in the dugout can breathe a little easier now, and now let's see if that momentum can carry over and the Mariners can get some more runs here.
So now Zach Preisner with the bases cleared. Harwich has now scored their first run of the game. McGraw, he's been efficient to this point, but giving up the first 2 hits to open up this inning, and then giving up contact there to Kavanaugh. Harwich is going to try to pressure this pitcher on the mound even more so. It's a 2-0 count now to Preisner, as McGraw struggling to find the strike zone early in this count. The pitch. That's going to find a way in, 2-1.
And that does still feel like a big break for the Whitecaps. Kavanaugh's one of the fastest guys in the league. To double him off, you need a perfect ball, and that's exactly what they got. Right to Neto, he could step on the bag and fire to first like a normal ground out.
I mean, we saw it yesterday as 2-1 pitch is a half-hearted swing from Zach Preisner. He was not too certain as to whether or not he truly wanted to swing on that, and ultimately did go around to even out the count. But we did see yesterday where there was a grounder hit right to first, and Press Kavanaugh was able to outpace the 6'7" Brian Fitzpatrick to get down to first. So right on the money, Tyler, as Zach Preisner goes down swinging. That is the 5th strikeout of the day for Teddy McGraw, but the Mariners do get a run across. Dylan Phillips comes home to score on a double play ball that has Harwich on the scoreboard for the first time in these playoffs. It's a 2-1 game. We'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here. Top of the 5th inning coming up. It'll be Alex Freeland, Zach Neto, and Jake Thompson all due up for the Whitecaps. We have a new pitcher on the mound for the Mariners. It is Matthew Pushard. Pushard coming in out of the University of Maine in relief of Eric Raiselman. Raiselman did not have the greatest outing of the season, as first pitch is in at 93 miles an hour. Raiselman, his line looked like this: 4 innings pitched, gave up 5 hits as the 0-1 is fouled off. Did give up the 2 earned runs, walked a total of 2 batters, and struck out just 2 batters. So bit of an atypical start from Raiselman, and if you're Harwich, you know, you have to be a bit frustrated by the fact that here you are, you're going to your bullpen already so quickly, 4 innings in, as the 0-2 misses up high.
And yet we might be witnessing right before our very eyes the most important piece that Harwich has, because without Matt Pushard coming into this team, as he'll miss this pitch low and away, I mean, we've talked about the bullpen being kind of in shambles right now with the departure of a couple of guys. You have to move some people from the rotation to the bullpen. Without a guy like Matt Pushard, you're really stuck, because they only have one guy like him on the roster, and that's Danny Wilkinson, who obviously may or may not be available right now. So to be able to bring Pushard, a late addition, who wasn't just an extra guy, who wasn't just an extra arm, who has been phenomenal so far this season and can eat up innings, to have a guy like him to put in is huge for the M's.
2-2 pitch coming in. That skips in the dirt. Count runs full. Pushard's numbers on the season look like this. He is 1-0. This is his 5th appearance of the season. He's pitched in 8 2/3 so far, struck out 11 to 4 batters faced. Or to 4 walks given up, I should say. 3-2 pitch in for called strike 3. Just able to pick the outside part of the plate. And that is a big opening strikeout for Matthew Pushard.
And that's the kind of stuff he's been doing since he came in. He is not a guy who has been intimidated by any of the players in these lineups so far this year. And you know, again, it showed in his approach. He stayed aggressive. He stayed on the offensive, and he comes up with a big critical strikeout to get the first out here in the fifth.
So now this brings up Zach Neto. So far 0 for 1 on the day. Did get hit by a pitch in his last at-bat. Takes the first pitch he sees, sends it out to center field. And that's going to land instead in the glove of Jordan Beck, who strides over to make the catch. Now 2 away, and very efficient inning so far here for Matthew Pushard. You need that. You want to try and preserve your arms as much as possible now that you are already into your bullpen. And Pushard is a guy who can eat up some innings. You mentioned it, Tyler. He's had a few relief appearances so far this season where he's gone more than 3 innings. So if you can get that out of him here today, that'd be a huge boost to try to set yourself up for tomorrow, as a big swing and a miss comes from Jake Thompson to open up this at-bat.
And sometimes when you talk about a guy that eats up innings, it can be in a negative connotation. That is not the case with Pushard. Again, a perfect ERA for him so far this year, has not surrendered an earned run.
As the next pitch misses for a ball down low at 93.
He's got good velocity on his fastball, pairs it with pretty good off-speed stuff as well. And speaking of off-speed stuff, there it is, 85. He pulls the string, and he is ahead here. Fastball, changeup, curveball, and that changeup is what does his heavy lifting. It is nasty coming in there at 85 miles an hour, a steady drop-off, about 10 mph off the fastball.
The 1-2 pitch, that's going to miss inside at 93. So he really does like to mix it up with a steady diet of each fastballs and that off-speed stuff that he does offer. We'll see what he goes back to here on a 2-2 count to try and put away his 3rd straight batter. And the pitch. That will miss in that same spot on the inside part, a bit lower this time as well. So the count now runs full here on another fastball from Pushard. We'll see if he's able to pick the corners here with another fastball or if he'll go over the heart of the plate. Swing and a miss from Jake Thompson. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Matthew Pushard, and he's able to get off to a hot start on the mound for Harwich. Exactly what this Mariners team needed. We move now to the bottom of the 5th inning. Mariners still trailing 2-1. They'll try to rectify that up at the plate. We'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back into playoff baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Jordan Beck will step in to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning here. Still on the mound for the Whitecaps, Teddy McGraw, now working on his 5th inning. So far giving up just 4 hits, 1 run. Harwich trying to build on the 1 run they were able to collect last time they were at the plate. First pitch is in at 92 miles an hour for a called strike 1. Beck so far today 0 for 1. Had a ball that popped out to Neto over at short. And that is a called strike, so Beck quickly finding himself down in the count here, 0-2.
And you wonder, I mean, that last 1-2-3 inning, can that be some momentum here for Harwich? They've already scored the most recent run of this game. They've got a decent part of the order up here, and a 1-2-3 could be just what they needed.
This pitch is going to miss up high. Count now 1-2. Certainly feels that way. It's been a lot of lengthy innings. Second, third, and fourth inning each saw a number of batters come up to the dish. The second inning, only 4 batters, but there were 2 hits in that inning. So has not been easy going for Harwich pitching so far today. As Jeff Merzel behind the plate makes the call. Jordan Beck went around on his check swing, so that is strikeout number 6 for Teddy McGraw.
And the bottom third, it's just been tough going here. Everybody from Kavanaugh down to Beck has struggled to get on, but Codier already reaching on a walk here. He's been playing his best baseball as of late. So far in this series, he has reached in 3 out of his 4 at-bats.
Yeah, so Codier trying to get on base for the second time today. First pitch he sees is missed for an 0-1 count here.
We talked about some of the differences between Harwich against everyone else in the league versus Brewster. I think one of the other things that kind of goes unspoken is that they have not had those lengthy at-bats that we see them force against everybody else.
This next pitch is in for a called strike, and Codier falls behind quickly, much like Beck, 0-2. And I agree with you, Tyler. It's been a lot of quick at-bats. We have not seen Harwich at the plate all that much when it comes to facing off against this Brewster team because they're just retired so quickly.
Or they get on quickly.
Either or, as count now 1-2 here to Codier.
We've seen more hits with 1 or 2 pitches in the count, and that's really allowed these Brewster starters to go longer into games. The pitch counts just have been staying pretty low and steady for Brewster. We're talking about a game that's in the 5th inning. Nobody's even up in the pen yet.
1-2 pitch, fouled off. Count will stay where it is. And for McGraw, this will be pitch number 65 coming up for him. He has been working very efficiently. You remember back to Raiselman, he threw about 70 pitches through his 4 innings pitched, and now this is McGraw's 5th inning pitch, and he is still at a lower pitch count. This ball is going to be sent into the outfield. That's going to get down in between left and center. Codier, he will run for second and pull up safely. No, he's going to go for third. Sliding in, he's safe. Max Codier with a 1-out triple into the gap in left center field. Talk about some guts from Max Codier. Hits it on the left side of the outfield and still has the speed to be able to beat out a ball that was thrown back into the infield.
And I think he ambushed the cutoff man. I don't think anybody in this park, including the 2 of us, thought he was going to take off for third base. It looks like a comfortable stand-up double. The next thing you know, Codier's rifling around third, and that's what you need in a game like this. Obviously, it can come back to bite you, but not this time around. Runner standing 90 feet away, 1 out, and the top of the order due up here in Chris Newell. All you have to do if you're Newell as the infield comes in is put something on the grass or to the grass. We've already seen that speed of Codier. A pop-up deep enough is going to score him.
And that's just the 4th triple on the season if you're Harwich, as a big swing and a miss from Chris Newell. And if that feels like a risk that you need to take if you're Harwich, with the way that runs have been at such a premium for you all season long against these Whitecaps. So now Harwich in a fantastic spot here to try to tie this game up. Chris Newell takes the 0-1 pitch, misses inside, 1-1, and Newell trying to improve upon his day so far, looking to get on base for the first time. So far 0-2 with a strikeout as well. Has not been an easy day for him. We talked about him trying to get back into his rhythm after being out of the lineup for over a week. 1-1 pitch is cracked foul. Count now 1-2.
And really anything other than a strikeout helps you here. There is still the opportunity if a ball gets hit in the right spot that Brewster could try a play at the plate, but you just got to put the ball in play and let something happen. Again, you hit anything deep enough, it's going to score on a tag. You hit anything that gets down, obviously it's a free run, and you give yourself a chance. Even if it goes to one of these infielders, all 4 of them have crept into that infield grass.
McGraw trying to select the proper pitch here, taking his time, looking for his 7th strikeout of the game. Newell trying to tie this game up with any ball put in play. The pitch. That'll skip in the dirt. And an excellent block from Curtis Byrne, a block that saves a run. If that gets by him, Max Codier, we've talked about his speed already so much in this half inning. He comes home to score 9 out of 10 times.
Well, we talked about his speed. We've also talked a lot at home. You know, this is the longest run from home plate to the backstop, all chain link. Anything that gets past the catcher clean is going to score a run here.
So it's now a 2-2 count. And the pitch. Newell will back off. He's brushed off with the pitch from McGraw at 94 miles an hour. So now Newell doing an excellent job battling back. He was down to the count 1-2, finding a way to get ahead now as the count here has run full. McGraw comes set, stares down Byrne and delivers. And once again, McGraw will miss inside. This will put Chris Newell on first base and bring up Tatum Levens.
Yep, and this is big for the Mariners. Obviously, Levens finally snapping that 0 for 10 with a big single back in the third inning. And we've seen it times this season. That's all it takes for a guy to get back on the right side of things. And right now, standing just on the outside of the dugout is Jamie Shevchuk during this meeting. But again, there was a lot of confidence being placed in their starter. McGraw, I mean, there was nobody up and warming in the bullpen. There's an arm warming now, as more infielders are going to come in little by little. And we've already seen this today, too. Jeff Merzel's not messing around with these meetings on the mound. He's already walking out to break this thing up. So Harwich is going to have runners at the corners. You've got Levens, you've got Wilkin. The one thing that could kill you here, and the one thing you cannot have other than a strikeout, is the obvious. It's the double play. As Neto and Freeland are going to back up to double play depth here, corner infielders will remain in. And they'll have Curtis Byrne come out and give the double steal sign just in case.
And if you're Brewster, you have to feel good having Zach Neto back in the lineup. Despite his time missed, leads the Cape Cod Baseball League in double plays at 7. He is a dangerous middle infield threat. So you need to have a well-placed ball here by Levens at the plate. First pitch dealt to him as Chris Newell goes down for second base. The throw from Byrne is going to be in time to apply the tag on Chris Newell as he runs by Zach Neto. So Chris Newell caught out on the base paths, and Harwich now, after having runners on the corners with one out, have just a man on third with 2 away.
And that just felt a little too obvious. I mean, we've seen that so many times this year. Harwich has been caught stealing so many times this year, and you know, you wondered if they would get risky and try to send the runner. We've already seen aggressive base running at third from Codier, but his feet were glued to the bag. That was always just to eliminate the double play, and, well, no chance for a double play, but one more out will end this inning.
As Tatum Levens, a big swing and a miss on an 0-1 pitch. He's now behind in the count here.
And the other thing that does is it gives a lot of confidence back to Teddy McGraw. You know, you only need one more out. You can focus up on the hitter. You're not worried about the guy standing on third base now. You're just trying to go out here and retire Tatum Levens.
And if you're Brewster, you saw that story yesterday where Chris Newell stole second base, so they were well aware of his capabilities on the base pads. 0-2 pitch in, called strike 3. Tatum Levens is livid, but the inning will end nonetheless. The Mariners leave yet another runner stranded on third base. We move now to the top of the 6th inning. Brewster still leads it 2-1 after another inning for Harwich in which they failed to capitalize on their opportunities. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back into baseball here at White House Field. Tim Foley, Tyler Henry along with you as this game moves along now in the top of the 6th inning. It'll be the 5, 6, and 7 batters due up for the Whitecaps. Chris Lanzilli, Chad Castillo, and Tony Bullard. And if you are Brewster, this is really who you want to have up based on how they played yesterday. I mean, Lanzilli, he was one of the 2 runs that came across for Brewster, and Castillo was the only guy who had an RBI for either team yesterday. So another opportunity here perhaps for Brewster. But if you're Harwich, you hope that Matthew Pushard's able to continue the success he has had to this point across his 1 inning pitched. Faced the minimum 3 batters and struck out 2, and already finding himself ahead in the count here against Chris Lanzilli.
I know he's looked good, and an opportunity to put Lanzilli away, a guy that's given them some trouble here setting the table.
Lanzilli's able to hold off on a pitch that misses inside 1-2.
And you want the number of the series so far for this between these two? We've seen 14 innings of baseball. Harwich, in those 14 innings, they've stranded 16 runners, including 10 in scoring position, as this one's fouled away, and 6 on third base. I mean, that's the number of the series. That's really what it's come down to. Harwich has had so many chances, and there's something about Brewster. They find ways.
And those are splits that you will not see against any other team in the league. As the 1-2 pitch is sliced over towards foul territory along the third base line. Harwich has just had so many situations like that this season where you get guys in scoring position, as is the case with every baseball team ever, I really think. But Harwich has really had an excellent record when it comes to actually driving those guys around. As the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed, Tatum Levens comes over to pick up the drop, strike 3, and that is strikeout number 3 for Matthew Pushard.
Yep, Pushard just continues to chug along here. So far, he's faced 4 batters. He's struck out 3 of them. He is really in postseason form, but he'll have a tall task here in Chad Castillo, who is in this series 4 for 6 with the 2 RBIs yesterday.
And he is 1 for 2 within that here today. First pitch to him misses up high.
Your one and only update of the out-of-town scoreboard. The Bourne Braves get a 10-4 victory over the Katuitt Kettleers to force Game 3. That'll be played tomorrow at Doran Park. So there will be Game 3 tomorrow, again, regardless of what happens in this one. The Western Division Series, it's going to need one more to settle in. And it's always interesting when you have 2 blowouts back-to-back like that, one for each team, who that really does favor going into the last one. But you'd have to think it favors the Bourne Braves, who had the best team or best record in the league this year.
2-0 pitch. Matthew Pushard sends it across the plate at 93 miles an hour, and you certainly have to feel that way as Bourne. They have not been kept down for very long this season. They did have a bit of a rough stretch as the regular season came to an end. A big swing and a miss from Chad Castillo, but you really cannot doubt the ability of those Bourne bats to be able to turn it on as they did today, and they're going to have to win what I imagine will be a slugfest tomorrow between Katuitt and Bourne. It's the 2-2 pitch, fouled back, count stays 2-2. And for Brewster, they have to be looking at that, and should they be able to pull out the win today, that heavily favors them in a championship series, because that is 1 day's rest that Brewster will be getting that neither Bourne or Katuitt will get. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss from Chad Castillo as he went very high in search of that pitch but could not bring it down. It is now 4 strikeouts through 5 batters for Matthew Pushard.
Yeah, Pushard climbed the ladder on him, and he's, again, all of these strikeouts have been in the swinging variety. You can tell when a guy's feeling it. Pushard locked in right now.
Exactly what Harwich has needed out of the bullpen, and there are a few guys in this Mariners bullpen who we have not seen all that much extended time from. Of course, Pushard, we've seen a bit more of him when it comes to guys who have come onto the team as of late, but you have to wonder what else Harwich truly has in the bullpen when you think about guys who have come in as of late. Talking about Nadel, as well as a guy in Heinz who has come in late. And Heinz, the last time he played for the Mariners, had a decent outing. Not sure if we'll see him today nor tomorrow should the Mariners move on. It's an 0-2 count here on Tony Bullard. Matthew Pushard looking to strike out the side. And the pitch. This ball is going to be belted into the outfield. Chris Newell charging in. Instead, it's Jordan Beck striding from right to help record the second straight 1-2-3 inning for the Harwich Mariners. It's 4 strikeouts so far for Matthew Pushard out of the University of Maine. He is throwing it well, to say the least. We head now to the bottom of the 6th inning. Harwich still trails 2-1 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tim Foley, Tyler Henry along with you as Harwich comes back up to bat, trying to solve a Teddy McGraw who has looked relatively solid through his first 5 innings of work. Has given up 5 hits, but just the 1 run so far, and he has been frustrating Harwich all day long with 7 strikeouts as well. Brock Wilkin leading it off. Takes the first pitch that skips in the dirt, gets away from Curtis Byrne. Count opens up at 1-0.
And really, it's been the timing of the strikeouts that has frustrated the Mariners. How about this? He's struck out the final batter of each of these first 5 innings so far. I mean, that's incredible.
That is demoralizing for a team at times as this ball's fouled back. You try to keep some momentum going to your next appearance at the plate, but when every single guy is going down after watching a strike or swinging at a ball that goes over the plate, it is frustrating, and Harwich still looking to pile on and have a big offensive outburst against these Whitecaps. The 1-1 pitch is pulled foul, hot shot into the berm. Watch out. Something you always need to be mindful of here at White House Field in particular. You see it at a lot of ballparks where they will have fans who are always going to be at risk in foul territory, but with the way the berms are elevated here at White House Field along the first and third base sides, you're in line to get hit with some line drives, and you really need to pay careful attention. It's a 1-2 count here to Wilkin, the pitch. That's going to miss inside, 2-2.
That's a tough take for Wilkin, who's already been struck out looking twice today. You wonder if that's in the back of his mind, but not the kind of guy that is going to make an adjustment to the way he approaches an at-bat. Just because he's already been struck out twice, he's going to go in and do the same thing that he's done all year, and it's paid off for him so far this season.
2-2 pitch. That's going to miss outside. Count now runs full, and it's just especially impressive. We talk about how excellent a hitter Wilkin has been, how patient he has been, leading the league in walks as well as top in a number of offensive categories. Just won the Pat Sorrenti MVP award before this game, and he's one of the youngest players in the league as he fouls off the 3-2 pitch. Comes in at just 19 years old, turned 19 really just before the season began, coming out of Wake Forest. And really, he was a guy who we were looking at the start of the season when it came to who we were watching to see who would have a good appearance at the plate in that first game, really. And he has just gone above and beyond. As 3-2 pitch, a swing and a miss on Brock Wilkin. That is 8 strikeouts on the day for Teddy McGraw, and for Wilkin, that is his 3rd strikeout.
Yeah, a tough one there for Wilkin. That will bring up Dylan Phillips, though, who's reached base twice today. He's been one of the best batters for this Harwich Mariners team. Really quickly, an interesting stat. So this game, obviously, down to the final 4 innings or so, through 3.5 games, let's call it 3.5 games. Through 3.5 games of the postseason between the East and the West, there have been 40 runs scored. 35 of them have come from out west. Just 5 total runs through a game and a half here in the East.
I mean, not so much of a surprise when you look at it a little more carefully, as Dylan Phillips swings and misses on the first pitch he sees. Bourne, of course, everybody's aware of the hot bats they've been swinging all season long. And then you have a team in Katuitt that, despite not having the pitching, not having the great record that everybody likes to look at, they've actually had one of the best lineups in the Cape this season as well. And then, of course, you have Brewster, who has one of the, in fact, the lowest batting average across the Cape. And Harwich, really kind of the one outlier in regards to how postseason scoring has gone so far. The 1-1 pitch misses up high, count now 2-1.
Well, how about this? Katuitt is actually top of the league in batting average, slugging percentage, and home runs. They also strike out less than any other team in the CCBL. So statistically, offensively, they are better than Bourne in a lot of these categories. They're also the worst pitching team by far that is still here in the league, remaining in the playoffs.
2-1 pitch, a big swing and a miss from Dylan Phillips, as that pitch was well outside. Phillips reaching after it, could not find it. But what better way to back up poor pitching than some of the best bats in the league? As Phillips digs in for the 2-2 pitch coming here. McGraw delivers. This ball's going to be pulled over towards the Brewster bullpen. And there is an arm who's warming up in that Whitecaps bullpen. It is Hunter Owen, who Harwich saw just the other week. Ate up a few innings for the Whitecaps, went just over 3 innings. Of course, we'll see when he comes in. So far, it has been Teddy McGraw's game, trying to work through his 6th inning here. 2-2 pitch is going to miss outside, count now full.
Yep, and really, you have to admire the way Dylan Phillips has remained patient throughout this entire game. Yes, he is one of the better power bats in the lineup. Yes, the Mariners have spent the last couple of innings down by just 1, but he's not trying to park one over the right field fence. He's trying to get on base and trust that his guys can find a way to bring him in. They've already done it once today.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That is 3 straight strikeouts from Teddy McGraw. That puts him up to 9 on the day. I mean, this is a pitcher for the Whitecaps who, he was not one of your all-stars. Somebody who, on the season, he's put up some good numbers for you, but without a doubt, this has been his most important start of the season and his most impactful one.
And again, it's not like Harwich hasn't had their chances. They've gotten 4 guys to third base in this game, but he's ended every inning with a strikeout, and if he picks one more up here, he'll be at 10. It's been a really, really good game for Teddy McGraw today.
Carter Putz digs in. He'll foul off the first pitch he sees. So once again, McGraw with 9 strikeouts here so far in this outing. The most we've seen from him in an outing so far this season prior to today was 6 in his first appearance of the year. Now 1 pitch is across for a called strike. That was in a 2-4 game that he actually lost against the Chatham Anglers across just 3 2/3. And his longest outing prior to today was a 5-inning outing also against the Chatham Anglers. So looking to close out what would be his longest outing of the season, the 0-2. This ball's hit on the ground. 2-hopper over to Neto. Throw on to first is in time to record the out. That will be the side. 9 strikeouts in the game for Teddy McGraw. He has gone his longest in a game that he has all season long, and he is pitching an excellent game at the perfect time for these Brewster Whitecaps. We head into the 7th inning now. Harwich still trails it 2-1 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into the Harwich Mariners YouTube network for the play-by-play duties for the next 3 innings. My broadcast partner, Tyler Henry. Tyler?
Thank you so much, Tim. For the Brewster Whitecaps, it'll be the 8, 9, and 1-hole hitters due up next. Curtis Byrne, Porter Brown, and Spencer Jones to face Matthew Pushard, who has looked very good through 2 innings of work. Pushard from the windup delivers the first pitch. That'll miss upstairs. And we had a chance to talk a little bit about it, but I wanted to go into some more detail on what makes Pushard so dangerous. We talk about the 3-pitch mix that he has. You don't see a lot of guys that throw the 3 pitches that he has. A fastball that comes in anywhere between 88, as you see there, upwards of 93 miles an hour. Then you have his best pitch, which is the changeup, consistently around 85. But he also throws a curveball that takes another 8 to 9 miles an hour off of that. You have to guess when you face Matt Pushard what you're getting, because the 3 things he throws has a range anywhere between 30 miles an hour, and there are no 2 pitches in there that are about the same.
It's so tricky whenever you're facing off against a pitcher like that to try and adjust from pitch to pitch.
Fastball fouled away here.
And so he's done an excellent job. He's gone 1, 2, 3 in each of his first 2 innings so far, and you know, the real test will be once he gets back to the part of the lineup that he saw when he first came in and how they're going to adjust the second time around.
2-2, swung on and stung the opposite way, but it'll hang up for Beck, who settles under it, looks up, and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Porter Brown, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
Every out that has been recorded while Matthew Pushard has been on the mound that has not been a strikeout has each been a flyout to Jordan Beck in right field.
Yeah, interesting note there. 3 times the defense has had to get involved, and all 3 times the only man who's had to take a step in either direction has been Jordan Beck out in right field. And, well, we might see that again with a left-handed Porter Brown at the plate. The DH today takes a big cut at the first pitch he sees and comes up empty 0-1.
And that's good here. You want to get ahead in these counts early on. You're at a point in the game. Just start going after guys. Pushard's got that stuff.
0-1 swung on and tipped back into the glove of Levens. Pushard wasting no time at all, getting ahead here 0-2. And his quick pace is certainly going to benefit the Mariners if they can find a way to come back. They are not eating too deep into that bullpen. There is an arm up and warming right now. 0-2 fouled away. Staying alive here is Porter Brown. Levens adjusts the right shin guard a bit. Pushard again working quickly here against the 9-hole hitter for Brewster. Rocks into the windup. The 0-2 comes in and gets him. And once again, we've seen that a lot this year. Harwich, when they have hit guys, a lot of times it's been with a 2-strike count. And that is just a killer for a pitcher, as that's going to be the first man allowed on base here by Matthew Pushard, and it brings up the top of the order with Spencer Jones.
Yeah, that's something Harwich has done a lot of this season. Coming into the postseason, they hit the most batters across the Cape Cod Baseball League at 41. So that trend continues here for Harwich pitching, as it's now the 2nd batter today that's been hit by a pitch.
Yep, Harwich leads the league in strikeouts as a pitching staff. They are also one of the better teams in not allowing a ton of walks. But yeah, a lot of hit batters and a lot of wild pitches this year for the Mariners. Big swing and a miss. Coming up empty here is Spencer Jones with 1 away. So far today, Jones is 1 for 3, a single and a run scored, a couple of ground outs for him as well. Pushard stares in, now working out of the stretch. The 0-1. Swung on, popped high in the air, drifting into foul territory. Kavanaugh's going to give it a chase, but it will get into foul territory over in that Harwich bullpen. Count does go to 0-2, though. Pushard continues staying ahead of almost every batter he's faced so far. He's got 4 strikeouts already. The only man he's allowed on base today is Porter Brown, who stands on first after being hit by that pitch. Decent speed for Brown. You wonder if they'll send him here. The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He cuts down Spencer Jones. That is the 5th strikeout of the day for Matthew Pushard, and it puts 2 away here in the top of the 7th.
And that's exactly what you want in a bounce back at bat for Matthew Pushard. Hits a batter and comes right back and records another strikeout. So he's going to look to continue his streak of excellence so far across his now 2/3 innings pitched.
And we've talked about a couple of guys who are due for big hits. This is certainly one of them. Alex Freeland still looking for his first hit of the 2021 playoffs. 0 for 2 with a strikeout in game 1. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a walk here in game 2. Pushard's first offering, fouled away. and he will continue the trend of staying ahead.
And it just opens him up to do so much. I mean, you get ahead in the count 0-1, 0-2. You can get guys to chase. You can get guys to swing at things because they're trying to be a bit more defensive. So really plays into Pushard's favor here to stay ahead.
Lights are on here at White House Field as we approach 7:30. This ball's going to be popped foul, and once again, it's an 0-2 count. He got Curtis Byrne 0-2, Porter Brown 0-2, Spencer Jones 0-2, and now he has Alex Freeland at 0-2. Every time Pushard records a strikeout, you hear that Harwich dugout get fired up a little bit. You wonder if it might translate to the bats, if he can get one more here. The 0-2 runner goes in the dirt. Levens is going to have to focus on blocking this, so it will be 90 feet awarded to Porter Brown. That'll make it a 1-2 count here on Alex Freeland.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy steal for Brown as the ball skipped in the dirt and took a skip off the head of Tatum Levens. So even when a ball skips well in front of home, it finds a way to take a funky angle on Levens and kind of set him off for a second. So now for Brewster, you have a man on second base, and if you're Harwich, you don't want to let this slip away from you. You did a good job in recording 2 outs already in this inning, and another run here for Brewster would be devastating as you're still trying to make up the 2 runs that Brewster's put up on you in this game.
Pushard walks out to Levens, which is not something you see very often. Says something to him under the glove, gives him a tap of the fist, and now heads back to ready up for this 1-2 pitch. Huge insurance run for Brewster on second base. Alex Freeland again looking for his first hit of the postseason. The 1-2. In the dirt, missing here. Count goes even at 2 apiece.
And we haven't seen this all too much so far from Pushard. He, as mentioned, got ahead in the count 0-2, but these past 2 balls have been missing by a lot, both in the dirt before they reach the strike zone. So Pushard going to have to try to find something here to avoid a full count.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away, a 2-1 lead for the Whitecaps. Pitch on the way. Chopped to second, picked up by Codier. Turns, fires to first in time, and the side is retired. So, 7th inning stretch time here at White House Field. The Mariners down to their final 9 outs, potentially of the season. Looking for a 1-run comeback. When we come back, you're watching playoff baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. Good to have you in here for Game 2 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. Winner of this series will move on to the CCBL Championship Series overall for the league title. And it'll be an opportunity to face off against either the Katuitt Kettleers or the Bourne Braves, pending what happens in Game 3 tomorrow. Here it's a 2-1 lead for the visiting Brewster Whitecaps. Harwich at the plate. They will have a new pitcher to face off against. It'll be Hunter Owen, who is no stranger to pitching against these Mariners, and so far this year has had his fair share of success against Harwich.
Well, when looking back to his last outing in particular, he's going to try to have a bit more success than that, as pitched 3 1/3, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs. Each of them were earned. 3 walks and 3 strikeouts as well. So for Harwich, they have to try to remember this guy, how he pitched, and take advantage of a new pitcher into the game. Of course, if Owen can come in and deliver a solid performance, then he'll help his team punch their ticket to the Cape Cod Baseball League Championship. But if you're Harwich, new pitcher on the mound has to be a new ball game in your mind.
Yep, and of course the Mariners able to capitalize after a previously decent outing for him. But yeah, again, you look at the total overall numbers for Hunter Owen this year, 4.8 ERA, 18 strikeouts compared to 9 walks. And he will have a tough part of the Harwich order to face off against. Press Kavanaugh, Zach Preisner, and Jordan Beck as the lefty from Vanderbilt delivers his first offering. That'll miss upstairs for ball 1. Tip of the cap to the Brewster starter Teddy McGraw, who completes 6 innings. He gives up just 1 run on 5 hits, walks 1, strikes out 9. And again, you look at the numbers on the day, he stranded 4 guys on third base in this one.
Yeah, I mean, just an unreal start. We talked about it a bit at the end of that last inning, unsure as to whether or not we'd see him again, but his most successful start of the season by a mile.
1-1 to Kavanaugh. Breaking ball gets across for strike 2. Press is going to be against the wall here with a 1-2 count.
And I mean, we talked about it. The most strikeouts he had in a game prior was 6 innings, or 6 strikeouts, and then only had pitched so many innings all season long.
Certainly saved his best performance for last as Kavanaugh fouls this one away. And Press, another one of those guys, still kind of looking to break out of a bit of a late season slump. Again, in competition for the batting title there at the end of the year. Came up just shy, regular season batting average of .333. Came into the postseason as the leadoff man yesterday. Had a 1 for 4, did reach on a walk, 0 for 2 so far today. And trying to set the table for the Mariners, does a good job battling here. Count stays at 1-2.
And that's what I like about having a guy in Kavanaugh now, kind of in the middle back of the lineup here, is because, you know, when the inning opens up with him in the leadoff spot, you then followed up by guys in Preisner, Beck, and Codier, who have all been streaking at the right time.
This is going to be called strike 3. Kavanaugh not a massive fan, but he'll walk back to the dugout empty-handed. And the first batter faced here by the new pitcher Hunter Owen is retired with a strikeout.
And if you're Harwich, all you have to be thinking right now is, oh boy, is this going to be more of the same as what we just got from Teddy McGraw? Zach Preisner, he's going to have an effective at-bat here to help Harwich gain some momentum through the rest of this game.
Talking about guys who might be due for a big hit. Preisner this postseason 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. Looking to break out of that here against the lefty in Owen. Pitch on the way. Breaking ball, big hook, misses low. Count starts off at 1-0. And you got to think the best arms in the bullpen have already been used up. 2 all-stars, including one of the best closers in the Cape and Dale Stanovich, coming in to secure a 2-0 victory for Brewster last night as this next offering misses upstairs. So instead of those guys, Harwich gets a man who they looked pretty good against in their last outing against him. It's been kind of a 1-1 battle this year between these two. When you're talking about the Harwich lineup facing off against Hunter Owen, we'll see who wins the rubber match here in Game 2. And Owen misses upstairs again. Count goes to 3-0 here on Zach Preisner.
Yeah, interesting here from Owen. Hasn't been able to find the strike zone on each of these first few pitches against a guy who's struggled so far these past 2 games here.
3-0. Just gets across the plate on the inside half. Count goes to 3-1. Mentioned it earlier, a wonderful crowd on hand here at White House Field, and certainly the biggest crowd we've seen all season long. Official attendance for today's game, 3,661. To see this Game 2 between Harwich and Brewster. This ball popped up high in the air, drifting out as Neto. It's going to have a chance to drop, but Neto jumps up and makes the catch, and that will retire the second out of the inning. Zach Neto again comes up with a big defensive play. 2 away.
And if you're Harwich, that's frustrating. You were so close to having a ball land in that sort of middle territory. You've gotten a few of those breaks recently, but unable to get one there, and now it has you down to your last out here in the 7th.
So that does bring up Jordan Beck, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout today. Harwich looking to put together a 2-out rally here in inning number 7, trailing it by just 1. And we have seen Jordan Beck. He has the power numbers this year. Maybe not any kind of massive statistics, but we've seen him a couple of times park a ball over that left field fence. Here he'll watch ball 1 go by.
He did have the 1 extra base hit in yesterday's game for the Mariners.
Certainly did. Has 2 home runs on the season, 10 RBIs as well, although here more concerned with just trying to find a way to get on base. He'll watch this one miss inside. Count goes to 2-0, and Hunter Owen falls behind yet another hitter.
Yeah, not too interested in going right after guys right off the bat, trying to get guys to chase on balls that are just missing outside the zone. Good patience from Harwich across these past 2 at-bats.
The 2-0. That'll miss up above the letters, and the count goes to 3-0 for back-to-back batters. So patience paying off so far. Jordan Beck likely going to be taking all the way here. See if he leaves the bat on the shoulder. The 3-0 pitch, and he will, and it will miss for ball 4. So with 2 outs, it's a man aboard here, and Max Codier will be the next man at the plate here for the Mariners.
And of anybody who you want to have at the plate today, looking at how all of the Mariners have performed so far today, you want Codier. I mean, he's got a single, he's got a triple. He's been excellent so far at the plate, and it's gonna take another big at-bat here to help move his teammate and Beck around.
Max Codier has been arguably one of the most inconsistent guys in this lineup, but when he's on, he's on. And you go back to that Hyannis game, it was in full effect that day, I believe 4 for 4. I think even 6 RBIs. We can go back and double-check the books, but he had just a monster outing. And so far, it's been a good one for him again today. You mentioned it already, a single and a triple. And the first pitch is going to be a called strike. That breaking ball sweeping outside just catches the outer half of the plate. And the count starts off at 0-1 here to Max Codier. Codier arguably has been the hottest hitter for the M's this postseason. 2 for 3 yesterday, 2 for 2 today. There is a lefty on the mound. That means we're going to see some pickoff performances.
And just to give you those numbers he had the last time Hyannis was in town in that 18-16 slugfest, went 3 for 3, came across twice to score, had a double, and drove 5 runs around the bases.
Yeah, 5 RBIs in one game, and then got replaced in the lineup late in that game. Here's going to chop effectively a swinging bunt. It's going to toe the line. He is going to have a chance to get onto the bag. Actually wraps up the first base umpire, but unfortunately the tag applied in time as Thompson just had to wait for it, scooped it into the glove, and tags out Max Codier to end the 7th. To the 8th inning we go. Harwich still trails at 2-1 here at White House Field. You're watching Cape League Baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. A do-or-die game 2. Getting to be crunch time here for the Mariners. And a new pitcher coming into the game. It will be Liam Simon for the M's in relief of Matt Pushard. Tip of the cap to Matt Pushard. A phenomenal outing for him today. Goes 3 innings, gives up no runs, no hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts on the day for Pushard. And he will turn it over to Liam Simon, who at times has looked like one of the most dominant relievers in the Cape League. At times has not looked so good. It's really been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde act for him this year. And the question is, which version of Liam Simon do we get today?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to try and follow in the steps of each Raiselman and Pushard, who have collectively put together a pretty solid game. I mean, pitching-wise for Harwich, it has not been all too shabby today. Just 5 hits across 7 innings so far, and just the 2 runs given up. it's really just been the struggles that have been coming at the plate. So Simon is going to have to dial it in, channel what Raiselman and Pushard were able to do today to help keep Brewster in a low-scoring game.
Simon had a stretch of 6 appearances in which he gave up just 1 earned run. Did end up giving up a earned run that ultimately did not cost Harwich the game, but helped Bourne to a victory at the beginning of the year. And then, of course, his most recent outing against the Brewster Whitecaps, he gave up 3 earned runs in 1 inning and walked 4. Here he breezes a fastball at 95 miles an hour right past the bat of Zach Neto and evens a count at 1-1.
And that's one of the things that really helps him to find success when he does have it. He has a lot of heat in that arm of his.
The righty out of Notre Dame, the 1-1. This ball swung on and fouled away. Count will go to 1-2. And once again, we see a really great day on the mound for Mariners pitchers. They allow just 2 runs, just have not gotten the run support to back it up, and they trail in yet another game down to their final 6 outs of what could be the season right here.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of heart to try and pull it out in these last 2 innings for Harwich.
1-2 pitch, misses outside. Count goes even at 2 apiece. Let's remind you of what is in the toolkit for Liam Simon. So far this year, again, pretty good numbers for him. Works with a fastball that's got a lot of velocity on it. Also has a good slider and pairs in a changeup for that 3rd pitch. The 2-2. Chopped up the left side, and it's going to get just past Wilkin and just past Preisner. It is a leadoff single here for the Brewster Whitecaps. The first time they've had the leadoff man aboard since back in the 2nd inning. And it'll bring Jake Thompson to the plate.
I mean, that was just a perfectly placed hit by Zach Neto. You said it, just past the glove of Brock Wilkin, as well as Zach Preisner over at short. So, perfect placement for Brewster, and they're in a good spot here in the top of the 8th.
And to be fair, even if Preisner had been able to get a glove on that, no guarantee he would have been able to make the throw. But got to give yourself a chance. Does put the leadoff man aboard. Simon will continue working out of the stretch here to Jake Thompson. First pitch to him is across for a called strike. This one touching 96 on the radar gun here at White House Field. Cannot overstate how important it is to keep this deficit to just 1 run. You want to leave yourself in a position where 1 swing could tie the game if needed. A lot of movement on first base right now. No move, and now a ball taken to left field. That's going to get down on the fair side of the line, and they're going to go ahead and wave the runner to 3rd. There's a throw coming into 2nd. It's a good one, and wow! They say they didn't get him, and I don't know about that. Thompson was beaten by a good 3 steps, slid into 1st, and they are calling him safe. So that's going to put runners on 2nd and 3rd for Chris Lanzilli, who once again will have an opportunity to deal a critical blow to his former team.
I mean, plenty of credit there to Jake Thompson to make that a difficult call for the umpire over at 2nd base, as he really tried to go around the tag that was laid down, and whether or not it was applied to him, very nice movement on the base pads by Thompson.
Righty on righty, Lanzilli takes a big cut and comes up empty. He wanted to give the Whitecaps a 5-1 lead. Instead, he comes up with nothing, and you just get the feeling if Harwich can get out of this inning without giving up any runs, that's a lot of momentum going into the offensive end of things. But on the other side of that, you allow this thing to slip any further away, it's going to be tough down the stretch. The 0-1. Chopped, foul. Levens will scoop it up. Count goes to 0-2. And for Simon, a strikeout here could be just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, you really don't want to take any risk with any ball put in play, because that does open up the door for Zach Neto to come home from 3rd. So take care of everything that you need to take care of within yourself, and Tatum Levens behind home plate.
On the other side of it, the Mariners will have the top of the order due up, but for right now, it is critical to keep this at a 2-1 ball game. Nobody out. Runners on 2nd and 3rd here for the Whitecaps. 5-hole Chris Lanzilli at the dish. The 0-2. Swung on, fouled away. Count stays right where it's at. Again, talking about Simon, he was so good through that middle stretch for the Mariners. Almost seemed like the guaranteed go-to guy if you needed to get a hold, but a bit of a rough appearance against Bourne and then a really rough appearance against the Whitecaps. 2 out of his last 4 appearances against 2 of the 4 playoff teams have not gone as planned. The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He rings up Chris Lanzilli on a pitch down and away. 97 on the gun there. Reach back for a little something extra, and that is the first recorded out of the inning. Here comes Chad Castillo. Talk about facing the toughest part of the order. You get through Lanzilli, now you've got a guy who came into this game 7 of 11 with 6 RBIs against this team at the plate now, and he's got the handedness advantage.
Well, for Simon, recording it out here against anybody would do you a lot of good, but to be able to sit a guy like Castillo down here, if he's able to get the better of him, would be a huge boost for Harwich.
First pitch to Castillo, across for a strike.
Just from a mental point of view, you talk about trying to get yourself back into a mindset where you have the belief that you can keep Brewster off the board and get some runs across the plate. This at-bat is going to go a long way towards that.
Simon definitely understands the gravity of the situation. He'll come set. The 0-1. Fouled off, and he's ahead of another hitter here, 0-2.
97, he is really dialing it in. I mean, we've seen it around the mid-90s, 97, not something we've seen all too often from him, and now twice in this at-bat.
And when I say he understands the situation, he knows that if this game ends as is for the Harwich Mariners, he's not going to have to pitch again for several months. Trying to keep it at a 1-run deficit for the M's, but a great opportunity for Brewster as calling for time here is Chad Castillo. And it's not going to get any easier. Tony Bullard, who has a solo shot, which currently is the only difference between these two on the scoreboard in runs, is standing in the on-deck circle. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 runners in scoring position, 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Mariners trail it by 1. Simon sets the pitch, and this will be fouled away. We'll do it again. These games have been some of the most nerve-wracking, some of the most frustrating, but ultimately some of the best baseball games we've seen between these two. Brewster has not given an inch to Harwich all season long. They took game 1. They're looking to march into White House Field, take game 2, and take a day off into the championship series. Mariners looking to avoid that fate. Simon's 0-2. And that's going to skip off the helmet of Levens. That'll score a run. It is 3-1 Whitecaps. That extra insurance run stays 90 feet away. And you said it. Harwich has given up more wild pitches than almost any other team in the league this year, and it comes back to bite them here in Game 2.
Yeah, every run that comes across at this point in the game is a huge blow to Harwich mentally, and there's another one there that comes on really a self-error, as Simon, I'm sure, would like that pitch back, and a 2-run deficit at this point in the game against these Whitecaps is going to be very difficult for Harwich to overcome.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Chad Castillo is retired. Back-to-back strikeouts, but again, the danger is not past. Tony Bullard will now stand in. And, you know, again, if you want to go back and play the what-if game, even if they had gotten the out of Jake Thompson at second base, that wild pitch still scores a run. Of course, the inning would be over now, but all in the past and an opportunity to move forward here. Liam Simon needs to record just 1 more out to take things into the bottom of the 8th. Still a manageable 2-run deficit here for the Mariners, but they need to do something fast, and it starts with getting this out. The first pitch to Bullard is tipped foul. Simon ahead 0-1.
And that's what you want to do. Simon works best, of course, when he's ahead in the count, but when he's given the freedom to just overpower these batters, if he falls behind, he really does not fare so well. And you can see it especially at times. Whenever there are guys on base, you know, it becomes a bit more difficult for Simon to try and keep it in control.
0-1, misses up and in. Levens stops it, comes up, picks it up. No advance, obviously. The ball only got a couple of feet away from the Mariners catcher, but the count evens at 1-1 here to Tony Bullard. One ball, 1 strike. Bullard is 1 for 3, the big home run. And he will take this into the gap in right center. Is it going to hang up long enough? It will not. That's going to be another RBI. Throw coming into second. It's close. And they say they got him. So the upside Jordan Beck cuts down the runner at second base to end the inning. The downside, 2 more runs come across the score for the Brewster Whitecaps. Harwich has their work cut out for them. It's 4-1 Brewster as we take a break for the Mariners. Top of the order due up when we come back. You're watching the CCBL playoffs here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. Fans for sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, be sure to go to MiltonCat.com. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. We head to the home half of inning number 8, a do-or-die game 2 for the Harwich Mariners, 6 outs away from elimination. A season that really was a sight to behold for the M's. They got off to a bit of a slow start. They had arguably the best middle portion of the season, but kind of did come in sputtering a little bit here to these playoffs. And on the other side of this is a Whitecaps team that has been white hot, no pun intended, down the home straightaway. You want to talk about the streak that these two teams came in on? Let's look at these numbers. 4 losses, 1 tie at the end of the season for both of these teams. The difference, Harwich had 3 wins during that span. Brewster had 12. They came into the postseason 12-4-1 with a victory in Game 1, 13-4-1, and they're looking for 1 more here. But the Mariners not going to go down without a fight. Chris Newell, Tatum Levens, Brock Wilkin, your 3 due up here for the M's. And again, you just get the feeling it's now or never for the M's. Hunter Owen is back out for another inning of work. Still a possibility that Dale Stanovich ends up coming in to pitch the 9th. There is an arm up and warming in that Brewster bullpen. First offering to Newell, in there for a called strike.
And that is Stanovich warming up over in the Brewster bullpen. Brewster is not messing around tonight, only threw an inning last night, and if they get it to a spot where they can close it out with a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 9th, you have to imagine they'll go to him.
And those 2 runs are massive as Chris Newell sends one down to the Brewster bullpen. He'll fall behind here 0-2, but just feels like a world of difference between a 2-1 ball game and a 4-1 ball game, especially when it's been so hard to manufacture runs against these Whitecaps in 2021.
It is. Harwich is going to have to flip the script and just change the entire narrative of the season across these last 6 outs.
0-2, and Newell takes a hack at a pitch he really probably had no business swinging at, but now the concern is he okay? His helmet came off. He fouled that off his hands back into his helmet. About the worst case scenario you could have asked for if you're Chris Newell. Yes, he'll live to fight another pitch, but that can't feel good, and he's a bit shaken, taking some time to collect himself here.
No, and for a guy who's been trying to get an eye for the ball again after being out of the lineup for a bit, that certainly is not the situation you want to find yourself in, as you now are down in the count 0-2.
Chris Newell still looking for his first hit of this game. 0 for 2 with a strikeout, the 0-2. That comes in and hits him. And Newell chucks the bat back to the dugout. 2 high and inside pitches. May not be the easiest way to get on base, but the Mariners have the leadoff man aboard here in the 8th. And Tatum Levens comes to the plate.
Yeah, I think that's the most angry Chris Newell has been all season long. He gave that bat a huck over towards the Mariners dugout, and frustrated. He fouled one off his own face, and then the next pitch comes right up, runs in on him. Of course, not the plan for Hunter Owen, who's ahead in the game 4-1, and certainly is not going to aim at anybody on an 0-2 count. So it's a frustrating situation for Owen, but for Harwich, your leadoff guy is on first.
Yep, Chris Newell, plenty of speed over there on first. This one almost comes in and gets Levens. It didn't have to duck out of the way. The ball breaking back towards home plate, but it will miss for ball one. And you really also wonder how short the leash might be on Hunter Owen here.
He hasn't put in that much work so far, just 22 pitches.
This one will miss low. Count goes to 2-0. And talk about Harwich having to flip the script. It comes from a couple of different places, but here's where it comes from today. Dylan Phillips got to third base in the second inning. He was stranded. Max Codier got to third in the third inning. He was stranded. Harwich did get Phillips across as this comes in and hits Tatum Levens, and that's back-to-back hit batters, 2 aboard here for the Mariners, and here comes Brock Wilken. And where did this come from?
To quote you, Tyler Henry, earlier in the season, I believe it was against the Brewster Whitecaps, we saw one of the chippiest ball games that we've seen all season long just about a week or so ago, and this game's getting really interesting here in the bottom of the 8th.
And I'll tell you what, I completely agree with you. Those were not malintended. Obviously, no reason to try to hit a guy in an elimination game. But if you think Harwich isn't going to take that and use it as a little bit of that classic Michael Jordan mentality, a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, especially for a guy like Brock Wilken, you are sorely mistaken. Harwich is fired up right now in the dugout, and they've got the Cape League MVP up to bat. And that will be it for Hunter Owen. It looks like it's going to be Dale Stanovich coming in to get what could potentially be a 6-out save. We will step away. When we come back, we'll get you numbers on Stanovich and a look at the situation here for the Mariners. You're watching Game 2 of the Eastern Division Finals here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley. And this might be it, folks. We are in the home half of inning number 8. The Harwich Mariners have runners on first and second for the Cape League MVP. You want to talk about best on best. Brock Wilken will now face Dale Stanovich, one of the best relief pitchers in the CCBL this year. He leads the league in saves, one of the best ERAs among guys in positions like this. And he'll face Brock Wilken, who is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts in this game, who represents the tying run for Harwich. The first pitch misses away, and we've got a lot to break down here, but I think the first point here, Tim, Dale Stanovich has never come back or come into a game in back-to-back days.
No, we have not seen it all season long. It's pretty atypical for relievers, despite the low inning count, to come in back-to-back days.
Of course, he did come in to record the save yesterday, and you wonder, I mean, what that might have done to him and what his mentality might be. He's facing the toughest part of the Mariners' order. Brock Wilken, Dylan Phillips, Carter Putz, nobody out, and Harwich hasn't had a hit yet this inning. The last hit for Harwich actually came back in the 4th inning. It was Codier's triple. Wilken digs in. The 2-0. And he will send that into right field. That's going to drop. That's a hit. They will go ahead and wave. No, they'll hold Chris Newell up. Everybody moves up a station. And now you're going to have a situation at second base. It was awfully close, but Tatum Levens able to get back to the bag in time. Brock Wilken gets the first hit for the Mariners since the 5th inning. And Harwich has the bases loaded for Dylan Phillips.
And Harwich should be feeling incredibly lucky right now because Tatum Levens likely should not be standing on second base as he was a little overzealous trying to get to third, but as Newell was held up, Levens had to find his way back, and it was a quick relay from Lanzilli and Wright to get that ball into Neto standing on second base. So Harwich with no outs and the bases loaded could be a bit of a different situation here.
This crowd, 3,661 strong, are so into this game. Harwich, an opportunity to come back from the brink, and Dale Stanovich has still not delivered a pitch in the strike zone yet. Dylan Phillips digging in. He's done so much for the Mariners this year. One of the late additions, the 1-0. And that'll be fouled away to even the count at 1-1. Stanovich averaging about 1 hit per appearance. He has been very good this year. Talk about a guy with 8 walks to 30 strikeouts. Now facing the Mariners' cleanup hitter in Dylan Phillips, who for what it's worth does represent the go-ahead run. The 1-1. Fastball in there for a called strike, and that'll make it 1-2.
And this is a really interesting move. Stanovich, he's been in for a batter now, but Brewster going all in on trying to close out this series here tonight, because if Harwich is able to come back in this game and somehow win, he's not available tomorrow for a Game 3. Of course, should not be anyway.
1 ball, 2 strike. Good point. Pitch on the way. That'll miss outside. Count goes to 2-2. His numbers this year, a 2.25 ERA. Already mentioned the 30 strikeouts to only 8 walks. That hit by Brock Wilken, the 11th that he had surrendered this entire season. 2-2. Dylan Phillips digs in. The pitch. He'll leave it outside. It's a full count.
The atmosphere right now at White House Field is electric. Both dugouts are getting amped up. The crowd's getting into it. This is one of the biggest moments of this game. One of the biggest moments of the season for either team.
Chris Newell stands on third. Tatum Levens on second. Brock Wilken on first. The payoff pitch. That one's going to be driven into deep right field, but not deep enough. It'll hang up long enough for Lanzilli to make the catch. Tagging and coming across to score is Chris Newell. And it's a 4-2 ball game with 1 away, and Carter Putz coming to the plate.
If you're Harwich, you'll still take that. That's a productive at-bat. You drive in a run, and and Chris Newell, who is standing over on third base. So now it's just about stringing together productive at-bat after productive at-bat. And Putz, a guy who we've talked about how excellent he is with runners in scoring position, he's going to be tasked to find some more excellence here in this at-bat.
And again, this would be a tie ball game if not for 2 monstrous insurance runs for Brewster in the top half of this very 8th inning. That is currently the difference. It's 4-2. Stanovich looking for a couple more outs, and he'll face Carter Putz. First offering to him, misses inside, and he's just not been locating the way we're used to seeing him do.
No, and you have to imagine it's in part because this is the only time all season long he's ever come in on back-to-back days.
And now we're going to get a meeting on the mound. There was a righty up and warming the second Stanovich came in, so they did have a contingency plan in case this didn't go well. Is this going to be the end of the line here for one of the best closers in the league? The only reason I don't say the best closer in the league is because Eric Adler of Bourne was given the Reliever of the Year award, but man, you're really splitting hairs to find a difference between those two.
Yeah, I mean, each of them so excellent, and so it really is interesting to see the way Stanovich has come in, bizarre almost. And again, you know, a bit of a chess move here for Brewster to put in their guy. And they're going to leave him in as well in a tough spot here to try and get himself out of this jam.
He will face Carter Putz, who is 1 for 3 today in the on-deck circle as Press Kavanaugh. And then you've got Preisner, who still doesn't have a hit yet in the postseason, but he had a good run-up to the playoffs in terms of his recent performances. Only 1 away in the inning. Carter Putz will dig in here with a 1-0 count. See if Stanovich can settle in and get a couple of strikes here. The big lefty from Rutgers kicks and fires in the dirt. Good stop there by Curtis Byrne, but the struggles to locate continue for Dale Stanovich.
Yeah, this has not been the Dale Stanovich that Brewster has been used to all season long. Really hasn't been all that many bad outings from him, and this is turning into a tough one so far.
Of course, yesterday, Stanovich came in for the save. He didn't strike anybody out, but he allowed no hits, no runs. 1 inning, picked up another save, his ninth of the year, rather. This ball is going to be taken into the gap in left center. That'll have a chance to get down, and it will. That'll one hop to the fence. They'll go ahead and send Tatum Levens around, and they're going to go ahead and wave Brock Wilkin. The cutoff comes in. Throw to the plate. Not in time! And heads up base running is coming to third base. It may cost him, it will. He is going to be cut down at third base as Carter putts, but this game is tied on an RBI bases clearing double from Carter Putz. It's 4-4, and the Mariners have life here at White House Field.
The RBI machine is back in order. Carter Putz has been an absolute animal when there's been runners in scoring position this season, and the beat goes on for him. The biggest hit of this Harwich Mariners season right into that gap in left center field. And if you're Harwich, the game is tied. You're excited at this point in time, but you have to be a bit frustrated with the base running decision. Could have been happy with Putz standing on second, tried to go for third, and now you have 2 outs and nobody on the bases for Press Kavanaugh.
And that is critical because, again, Harwich is no stranger to this situation. If you'll remember back to the 2019 championship series against the Katuitt Kettleers, as Kavanaugh digs in, he'll swing at the first pitch he sees, pops this high in the air, sprinting it to the gate there is Stanovich as that drops into the crowd. But Harwich in a similar situation, they had the lead taken away from them. Katuitt was up. They came back, they tied the game, but Max Marshak decided to try to take off for the plate. He was thrown out. At the time, that didn't feel that significant. Ultimately, it came back to lead to Harwich losing that first game, and the rest is history. The Katuitt Kettleers picked up yet another championship series. Instead of a runner on second, you're talking about a situation where the bases are empty for Kavanaugh, but again, a monstrous hit to tie this game. Next pitch is fouled away here by Kavanaugh. And I'll tell you what, Tim, if Harwich comes back and finds a way to win this game, you talk about momentum going into a pivotal Game 3 tomorrow at Stony Brook. All the stats go out the window if the Mariners can find a way to get the win here.
Yeah, I mean, at that game, you throw out the season records, everything. It's a new ball game tomorrow, should it happen.
0-2 misses in the dirt. Count goes to 1-2. In case you're wondering, Dale Stanovich this year, we talk about that 2.25 ERA. He has been so good this season. He had surrendered 4 earned runs all year coming into this game. 3, rather. Swing and a miss. He climbs the ladder on Kavanaugh, who is frustrated, and that will end the inning. But the Harwich Mariners pick up 3 runs. They tie this game, and here comes Owen Cody to pitch the 9th. We'll step away. When we come back, we've got more baseball. It's a new ball game at White House Field. Don't go anywhere. Mariners 4, Whitecaps 4. You're watching the Cape League Eastern Division Finals here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field as we head to the 9th inning of an instant classic here in Cape Cod playoff lore. Everybody sit down, buckle your seatbelts. We've got more baseball, at least one more inning, and the Harwich Mariners have put their closer Owen Cody on the mound. His first offering is swung on and fouled away here by Curtis Byrne. It'll be Byrne, Porter Brown, and Spencer Jones. Your 3 due up here for the Whitecaps. but all the momentum in the world right now is in the hands of the Harwich Mariners, and they have a chance to walk it off in front of their home crowd and head back to Stony Brook for Game 3. Swing and a miss. Cody ahead 0-2.
And I like the move here from manager Steve Engler to bring in their closer of their own in their own right, Owen Cody. Of course, you don't want this game to go to extras, but you want to set yourself up for the win in the bottom of the inning.
Foul tip here. Curtis Burns stays alive. That is the end of the line here for Liam Simon of the Harwich Mariners. He records 1 inning, gives up 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 strikeouts. Talked about that being the difference between these two teams. Quickly, it has become the only reason this game is still tied. Those big insurance runs are the only thing that has the Brewster Whitecaps not down to their final 3 outs here.
And, you know, they call them insurance for a reason. It seems inconsequential at the time as that pitch misses for a ball for Brewster. You're thinking you're gonna hold on to that lead with the way Harwich has struggled all season against you, but a huge breakout inning for Harwich, and it's a brand new ball game.
And you've got your best bullpen arm on the bump, Owen Cody. He will fill the count here, however. Count goes full at 3-2 to Curtis Byrne, and these are critical outs to get because you're talking about the bottom of the order who has not been overwhelming this year. But you do have a good top of the order due up after these guys. Here's a ball popped up in the air. Should be easy for Phillips. Drifts over into foul territory. Tracking back and makes the catch for out number 2. And we are going to have a pinch hitter for the Brewster Whitecaps in place of Porter Brown. Striding to the dish right now, it'll be a right-handed bat of Will Simpson, who was in the lineup yesterday. Simpson was 2 for 3 with a walk. Curious that they took his bat out of the lineup at all. And he'll bat here with 1 away.
Yeah, perhaps you're hoping you can bank on the fact that he might not have had to play for a few days, but now you're in a spot where you need him to try to lock down this win because, again, we talk about Stanovich. Cannot imagine he's available tomorrow if Harwich is able to pull out the win.
No, there's no chance as Cody delivers the first pitch here. It's going to be effectively a swinging bunt. Cody has to hustle over, can't pick it up, and that is going to put a runner aboard, the potential go-ahead in pinch hitter Will Simpson.
Yeah, Cody a bit excited trying to get to the ball there. Tried to rush the play, and ultimately it ate him up as that allows Simpson to be safe on first, and a pinch runner coming in there after for Simpson.
So the ultimate small ball move. You bring in a pinch hitter, he gets on base. You bring in a pinch runner, and why not? And this is where Brewster has excelled this year. When they get guys on, they're the most dangerous team in the league, despite having the worst batting average of all 10 teams.
Yeah, I mean, this what Brewster is able to do on the base paths all season long. They're able to steal bases like no other team, and so expect a lot of mental games here in this final inning of play to try and throw Owen Cody off his groove.
Top of the order up now in Spencer Jones, then Alex Freeland, then Zach Neto. Mac Bingham will take over running duties over at first base. First pitch from Cody misses away here. This is the first involvement Mac Bingham has had in this postseason. Cody needing to record a couple of critical outs. Spencer Jones at the plate. He'll foul this away. Count evens at 1-1. Jones today, 1 for 4, single and a run scored.
Yeah, not the greatest day so far, but he is always that eminent power threat.
And for those of you scoring along at home, for Will Simpson, that is going to be an infield single. Jones at the plate. Owen Cody sets. The 1-1. And he reaches out and lunges at it. Spencer Jones falls behind here, 1-2. We've talked about Owen Cody's stuff all year long, but in case you're tuning in for the first time, or if you've just forgotten, Cody out of Penn, working with a fastball that'll come in between 87 to 88, a curveball, and a changeup. Long look in here for Owen Cody, the 1-2. That comes in, just about gets Spencer Jones. That'll even the count at 2 apiece.
Yeah, and Harwich fortunate there. You know, they hit the most batters, and Brewster gets hit by the most pitches, so very fortunate to not have 2 on base right now with only 1 away.
Cody looking for 2 more outs here to give Harwich a chance to walk it off in the 9th. The pitch. That'll spike in the dirt. Good stop by Levens. And the count even, or rather full here at 3-2.
And Cody trying to be careful, aware of Spencer Jones and what he brings to the plate. But in his own right, an excellent pitcher when he goes after guys, and he's going to have to here on 3-2.
Again, Mac Bingham does represent the go-ahead run, standing on first base with one away. 3 balls, 2 strikes, the count right now to the leadoff hitter in Spencer Jones. Jones knows a thing or two about being in big situations. Of course, Spencer Jones coming out of the University of Vanderbilt, a perennial contender, and a team that was in the championship series for the NCAA. Runner goes on the payoff pitch. It'll miss in the dirt, and it's going to be a walk issued to Spencer Jones. 2 on, 1 out for Alex Freeland.
And this has been a little atypical for Cody. We've seen him struggle at times this season, but really only in situations in which he's brought in with runners on base, and he's been put in high leverage situations. But here, coming in with a clean inning, was able to get the first guy to go down, but the past 2 batters have each eluded him.
It's been a rough day for the closer for the Brewster Whitecaps, and now Brewster hoping it might be a rough day for the Mariners. 13 2/3 innings pitched, a 3.29 ERA coming into this one for Owen Cody. 5 saves, 22 strikeouts. That was just his 4th walk of the season. And now there is a go-ahead run at second for Alex Freeland, who's still looking for his first hit of the day, 0 for 3 with a walk. First pitch to him. Cross for a called strike from Cody. You hear the cheering, you hear the clapping, you hear a lot of noise being made, but this crowd, everybody on the edge of their seats. We're on the edge of our seats as well. This has quickly become one of the best games of the season for the Harwich Mariners, not only in terms of competitiveness, but in terms of stakes here in a winner-go-home Game 2. Cody's 0-1. Hit on the ground, opportunity for Preisner, flips the short way to Codier, and they call him safe. And it looks like his foot came off the bag?
It certainly did. I did get a look at that as Codier, he was just short of the bag. Preisner kind of led him on with the throw, and Codier had to step off. Not the tallest position player on the field as Coach Englert comes out to have a conversation.
Englert not happy about this, but I think what's telling, Preisner, the one who threw it, was upset by the call. Really no reaction from Codier. There is going to be a conference between the 4 umpires as coming together for the first time tonight. Ronaldo Cockram, who made the call at second, Jeff Merzel and Joe Caraco, 2 former or current umpires of the year, and Ryan Damari, and they're going to talk this one over. There was never going to be a chance to roll 2 with the speed of Alex Freeland. But even just getting 1 and getting to that 2-out mark here in the inning was going to be huge, and now, I mean, we have not seen many of these get overturned this year. No replay, and he is safe. So Alex Freeland is going to reach on a fielder's choice, and now you hear the boos from the Mariners crowd. But, Tim, you and I had a chance to kind of look at it. That seems like it was the right call, and I think Codier's reaction is telling of that. And now Coach Steve Gruenberg is going to go out and have a word with Owen Cody, and no matter how you slice it, a lot of time is going to pass between that last pitch and his next pitch.
Yeah, you want to try to just resettle him here. Let him kind of catch his breath. Bases are loaded here. This has been the toughest situation that Cody's put himself into all season long. And the one saving grace here is that, of course, there is still that double play ball that's available for Harwich. Of course, you have to hope for a ball that's hit in just the right fashion here. But you have to have belief in your pitcher here in Owen Cody, who's able to come in and be one of the top shutdown guys really across the Cape. And of course, he's going to have to do a lot of work to prevent Brewster from going ahead here in the top of the 9th.
And nobody has really barreled one up on him. The 3 guys that are on base right now, Mac Bingham, the pinch runner, an infield single from Will Simpson. Spencer Jones was walked. Alex Freeland reaches on a fielder's choice. It's not like anybody has squared one up, and that may be part of the conversation that they had with Owen Cody. You know, you still had your pitches working for you. It's just been circumstances, as now you'll see everybody on the corners, come in here. Wilkin and Phillips playing up on the infield grass, trying to cut the runner down at home. Middle infielders at double play depth. An opportunity to potentially roll 2. At the plate, Zach Neto, who again re-emerged for the Whitecaps. First pitch misses high and away. He made his first start in a very long time, coming back from injury. And Brewster, a team that has the worst batting average of any team in the Cape League this year. They could use a guy like him, and now he has an opportunity in the biggest moment, facing Owen Cody. The 1-0. That's a cross for a called strike. Count evens at 1-1. For Owen Cody this year, we talked about some of the numbers. 22 strikeouts, only 4 walks. Couple more Ks onto that resume could be massive, and you just get the feeling. If Harwich gets out of another bases-loaded jam, even more momentum piles on to the M side of things here, but if Brewster can come up with a big hit in this moment from Neto, it could go the other way. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Neto trying to give the Whitecaps a 4-run lead. Comes up empty, advantage Owen Cody.
Yeah, I mean, the pace of this game has just changed so drastically. You had 3 runs come across in that last inning for Harwich. It felt like they were going to come out here in the top of the 9th and just shut down Brewster, but it has been a slow inning to this point. There's only 1 away with the bases loaded.
Zach Neto is 1 for 3 today. He was also hit by a pitch. Came across to score on a wild pitch back in the 8th. The 1-2 from Cody. Swung on and tipped just foul, and that may have gotten back into the stands on that first base side. But the count will stay 1-2. It's Mac Bingham on third base, the pinch runner in for Will Simpson. Spencer Jones stands on second. Alex Freeland stands on first. The big number on the board right now, 1 out in the inning. Anything to the outfield should score a run. Anything in the gap could plate as many as 3. Cody sets. Another 1-2. Another foul tip here. Staying alive is Zach Neto, and it's not going to get any easier with Jake Thompson standing in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, it's a good battle here from Neto. We talked about it. Recent addition off of an injury for Neto back into the playoffs. And again, every single moment here in this inning is the biggest moment of the season for both of these teams.
Long look in here once again from Cody, understanding the importance of this next pitch. The 1-2, and time was called. And they're calling a balk on Owen Cody? Coach Engler's going to come out. He is not happy about this, and I can't say I blame him. That's the first balk we've seen called on a Harwich pitcher all year, if I'm not mistaken, and now Coach Engler's going to have to be careful. And I certainly didn't see a balk there. And the tough thing is, both of those calls came from the second base umpire, Ronaldo Cockrum. Engler is fired up, but that is going to make it a 5-4 game. I didn't see anything different than I've seen all season from Owen Cody's motion. Engler's still giving Cockrum a piece of his mind. That was something.
I mean, just a horrible turn of luck here for Harwich. You're now down here in this inning after the situation we have not seen all season long for a Harwich pitcher.
And how does that affect Cody for this next pitch? The 1-2. He'll miss it. Count evens at 2-2. That is something. And again, even if it was a slight motion, because obviously it wasn't anything clear to us up here, even if there is a slight motion, you don't make that call with the bases loaded in the top of the 9th of a tie game in an elimination game. That's just not something you do. Cody going to have to fight back the 2-2. That's fouled away again.
I mean, just if you're Harwich, again, we mentioned it already, such a swing in events, a big momentum gaining bottom of the 8th, and now you're behind in the top of the 9th with your season on the line.
But again, it's just not the kind of, even if it was so subtle, even if it was a balk, that's not the kind of call you see guys make in a league like this. That's the first time we've seen it all year. The 2-2 from Cody. Popped up high in the air, shallow outfield. Don't know if it'll be deep enough for a tag. As coming in, making the catch, and firing a strike to the plate is Jordan Beck. 2 away in the inning for Jake Thompson. But is it too little, too late? And I mean, again, this is compounded. The frustration is compounded by the fact that both calls made by Ronaldo Cockrum at second base. So Jake Thompson comes to the plate, his team leading it by 1, an opportunity to get a couple of potentially critical insurance runs again. Thompson in this game, 1 for 3, a strikeout, a single, a double, a walk. Cody's first pitch, in for a called strike.
And that's all you can control right now if you're Owen Cody. Just worry about the batter in the batter's box. Try to record that last out and trust your bats to do something in the bottom of the inning.
Thompson digs in an 0-1 count. Cody looking to put him away, but you also wonder how much of a momentum shifter that is when Harwich comes back up to bat, regardless of if it's a one-run ball game or not. That'll miss upstairs. Count evens at 1-1 to Owen Cody. Just a reminder, prior to any substitutions, it will be the bottom third of the order due up for the Mariners. Zach Preiser, Jordan Beck, Max Codier represent the last couple of hopes for the Mariners. You wonder if we might see some pinch hitters used there? You never know. But for now, trying to keep it to a one-run deficit, the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Cody gets a chase of Jake Thompson.
That is an excellent pitch from Cody. Able to get him fooled on the off-speed that just tails to the outside on a batter in Thompson, who's one of the few all-stars for these Whitecaps.
Opportunity to prove that he's worthy here. Again, huge opportunity to plate a couple of runs. Spencer Jones stands on third. Alex Freeland stands on second. Cody's 1-2. And that is going to be called strike 3. So Owen Cody gets out of it, but a very questionable balk call plates the go-ahead run for the Whitecaps, and the Mariners' season now rests with 3 outs left to give. We'll step away. When we come back, we'll set the scene for you as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Mariners and Whitecaps, Game 2 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley as we get set for what could now be the last half inning of baseball for the Mariners in 2021. It's not because a guy got walked in, hit in, driven in, nothing like that. The go-ahead run comes across on a balk, and we had a couple of our own people, a couple of other people check the tape, look at it, and again, we don't have the greatest angle in the world, but there was not enough motion on that in a game like this to be calling a balk that brings across the game-winning run. However, if you're the Harwich Mariners, you have no choice but to put it behind you. And just to add insult to injury, it's the bottom 3 of the order due up here for the Mariners pending any substitutions, starting with Zach Preiser, who this postseason is 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts. What a time this could be for him to break out. And for better for worse, Harwich is going to be fired up heading into this final inning. Surprising development. Dale Stanovich stays on the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps, and his first offering after he has a chance to settle down is in for a called strike.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Harwich, you need to find confidence in just that Stanovich is back on the mound. We have not seen him go more than 2 innings. Of course, this is his second inning of work, but he's not giving up more than 2 hits in an appearance.
Preisner pops this up, drifting into foul territory. This one's going to be just at the fence. Good chase there by Thompson, and there's just a renewed energy in this Brewster Whitecaps defense. They know they're 3 outs away from advancing to the CCBL Championship Series, and as an added bonus, if they get it done today, they'll have an off day tomorrow to kind of reset prior to the Championship Series.
Yeah, it would be huge for Brewster if they can lock down this win somehow. But for Harwich, you just have to forget the series of events that took place in the top half of the inning. You just have to come in and do what you've done as a baseball team all season long and put up runs.
It's easier said than done. Preisner at the dish right now. Third baseman playing back, and that'll miss outside. Preisner has a 1-2 count to work with here. You do also have to mention, regardless of how terrible that call may have been, Will Simpson reached on the infield single. Spencer Jones walked. Alex Freeland reached on a fielder's choice. They did find a way to get 3 guys on base to put themselves in a position to score that run. Here comes the 1-2. That'll miss well high and outside. Curtis Byrne loses his mask, and the count evens at 2-2 here on Zach Preisner.
Just keep having these long at-bats if you're Harwich. Preisner, you're going to look to keep defending the zone here. Of course, he's taking the last 2 pitches for balls, but keep working Stanovich. You know, he's coming off of a game yesterday where he pitched, and he's already pitched 1 inning so far here today. This is the most vulnerable he's been all season long.
2-2 from Stanovich. Swing and a miss. Preisner caught chasing a pitch that wasn't anywhere near the plate, and the Mariners are down to their final 2 outs with Jordan Beck coming to the plate.
That's a tough blow for Harwich to be able to have the first guy strike out here. And last 2 outs now in the bottom of the 9th.
And Harwich sticking with their guys through and through. This is what you expect out of Coach Englert, and he's sticking with his guys. Preisner, Beck, Codier standing in the on-deck circle. Jordan Beck has just 1 hit in this playoff series so far as well. Today he is 0 for 2, did reach on a walk. First pitch to him. Called strike at the letters. He'll fall behind 0-1, and whatever mojo Stanovich seemed to have lost, looks like he's gotten it back here. Harwich came back from the brink. They picked up 3 runs back in the 8th inning to tie this game heading into the 9th. The 0-1. This is up and away. Count goes to 1-1 here on Beck. Even if just 1 guy gets on base other than a Beck reach and a Codier double play, Harwich will get the top of the order up again. Beck stands in. A silent crowd here at White House Field. Called strike 2. Beck's going to have to get awfully protective here with a 1-2 count. Stanovich has now thrown 31 pitches. You wonder if that's the most he's thrown in quite some time. Typically just used to come in and pick up 3 outs, get through a game in the 9th. Trying to record a 6-out save. The 1-2. Misses down and in. Count evens at 2-2. Mariners down to their final couple of outs here. Infielders all playing Jordan Beck deep, giving themselves an opportunity to come up and make a play. Stanovich sets the 2-2. Fouled away here. Beck stays alive.
It's just about at this point being defensive if you're Beck. Foul off anything you don't like. Wait for your pitch.
Count is 2-2. Stanovich, again, one of the best closers in the CCBL. This year, already 6 saves, including one yesterday to secure Game 1. Looking for 1 more here to secure Game 2 and send Brewster to the championship series. The 2-2 pitch. Fouled off by Beck. And now we're starting to see those long at-bats start to creep back into the picture here for Harwich. They struggled for that, or they struggled with that, rather, for 8 innings.
Yeah, it's been a lot of quick outs for Harwich so far in this game.
Beck will dig back in once again. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 7th pitch of the at-bat coming up here from Stanovich. Here it comes. And that's going to be shoved out off to the right side, drifting, falling, and that will get down in the Brewster bullpen. Giving it a look there was Chris Lanzilli, but he ran out of space. The guys in the bullpen tried to get out of there. It looked like a flock of birds that had just seen a baseball coming their way, and Lanzilli just kind of got lost in the feathers.
Yeah, I don't think he would have gotten there in time, but the bullpen certainly not giving him much help, staying rather in the way.
Well, no, you know, the only way he might have had a chance would be to dive, which you're not going to do at the fence. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Jordan Beck at the plate. The Mariners down to their final 2 outs. Stanovich comes set. The 8th pitch of the at-bat, and it's going to be a strikeout. That is strikeout number 3 for Stanovich. The Mariners' final hopes of the season rest with Max Codier.
Now batting for your Harwich Mariners, number 6, the second baseman from Virginia.
Of course, the one saving grace, it is still a 1-run ball game. But of course, on the other side of that, Max Codier not necessarily known for his power. No home runs for him this season. And if you're Codier, that can't be your mentality. You're not swinging for the fences here. You're just trying to get on base for Chris Newell. Stanovich needs 1 more out to send the Whitecaps to the next round, and he gets strike 1 here on Codier, who has been excellent this postseason for the Mariners. 4 for 6, including a triple. That triple came earlier in this game. Stanovich has settled down a bit. His 0-1 swung on and missed. And the Mariners' season is down to their final strike. Whitecap fans in the crowd, on their feet right now, starting to clap it up for Dale Stanovich. Stanovich sets. The 0-2. Swing and a miss, and that will do it. The Brewster Whitecaps are heading to the 2021 CCBL Championship Series, and the Harwich Mariners have been eliminated from playoff contention. We'll step away, and when we come back, we'll be here to wrap up the game, the series, and the season. You've been watching Harwich Mariners Baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Hello, everyone, and welcome back here to put the cap on things. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. We also welcome into the broadcast booth one final time here in 2021 and one final time ever, our very own Colin Casey. And guys, it's hard to put into words a season that has been culminated with so much success and so many wins on the razor's edge, and this feels like just the absolute worst way to lose a ball game. It didn't happen because the Whitecaps out-hit the Mariners in the end. It happened because of a couple of really tough calls. And Colin, I mean, again, you go back and you look at some of this stuff. Years from now, I mean, this is going to almost be forgotten. But for these next couple of weeks, for these next couple of months, the city of Harwich is going to remember those calls. And it's just unbelievable the way things shook out today.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations to the Brewster Whitecaps getting that victory. I mean, they were an outstanding team all season long. Outstanding pitching in yesterday's game, and for the most part, they pitched really well today. Got another great start from Teddy McGraw. They certainly deserve to be in this Cape Cod Baseball League Championship Series, no question about it. But yeah, it's a real tough blow. Tie ball game. The Mariners come back to tie things up and have it end in that fashion. Mired in real controversy. It's certainly frustrating, but it really shouldn't take away what the Mariners did this season. A top 2 finish in the division, another trip to the playoffs, the only team in the East to be able to do it in back-to-back seasons. It's a real frustrating end, no question about it. And like you said, Tyler, there's not a lot of carryover with these Cape League seasons, so it's tough for these guys one season for most of them to end in this fashion, but all in all, a really great season, and it was a real pleasure to be a part of it here in the broadcast booth.
Certainly was. Tim, obviously your first year broadcasting here in the CCBL, and a fantastic season overall for Harwich. And I think the biggest thing that you come away with from an experience like this, not you, but for all of us as we watch this game, there are some names out of this team that I think we're going to remember for a long time, and they're names that we're going to see on draft boards. And we're not just talking about a couple of guys here and there. This is a Mariners team that put together the most all-stars, tied with Bourne on the season, a couple of incredible pitchers. Saw the emergence of a guy like Trey Dombrowski. I mean, this is just overall the amount of talent on this team, but also the amount of heart that this team had, the personalities of these guys. It was a joy to be around this Mariners team every second of this 2021 season.
It really was. And you just think about how the players ate up every moment of it. And it all comes back to the reason you have these summer leagues is to not win championships per se, but to bring guys in from these collegiate teams and turn them into the best ball players that you absolutely could. And I stand by the belief that if you take any of the 10 Cape Cod Baseball League teams on day one, you put them up against any of the teams on day 40, you put them up against any of the teams on day one, you'd have any of the teams at the end of the season beat any of the teams at the beginning of the season, hands down. I mean, just the way that players across this league improve as the season goes along, the way that we saw it firsthand from a lot of these Mariners players was something that was, it was brilliant to really be a part of this process where you just witness these guys really in their last go-around of playing the game that they love before being commercialized in a sense. They're still just kids loving the game, and at heart they always will be. And, it's been a real pleasure to watch the game played at this level all season long, and you just know that for these guys, regardless of how this game ended here today, it's the summer as a whole that they're really going to remember. It's the contacts they've made with their fellow teammates, these coaches here today, the host families that do so much for these players throughout the course of a season that have really been what this whole season is all about, and Harwich successful in every regard this season that you could possibly imagine.
Certainly, Tim. It's been so great working with you this season. Of course, an experience I don't think either one of us will ever forget. Thank you so much, and obviously best of luck with everything as you move forward in your career, as we all move forward individually as well, and for all these players that will be moving on to bigger and better things. Final numbers for today look like this. The Whitecaps score 5 runs on 9 hits, 1 error. They strand 5 on base. The Mariners score 4 runs on 7 hits. They have 1 error. They strand 8 on base. Your win goes to Dale Stanovich. The loss, unfortunately enough, goes to Owen Cody. And again, the biggest point of the game, the Harwich Mariners pick up 3 runs on a bases-clearing RBI double from Carter Putz in the 8th inning. They tie it up. They go to the 9th. The bases are loaded. Couple of really questionable calls, one at second base where it looked like he was out, gets called safe, and then the same second base umpire, Ronaldo Cochran, makes the call on the balk for Owen Cody. That brings home the game winning run for the Brewster Whitecaps. For the Harwich Mariners, they finish a great 2021 campaign, 19-14-5 on the year. The Whitecaps advance. They are now 24-11-3. And before we let you go, Colin Casey, want to bring you back into the picture one more time here. And you can go and throw the headset on there if you want, as we've kind of been passing it along here in the broadcast booth. But Colin, this has been a heck of a journey for both of us. I think certainly for me at least, I didn't expect to be back here this summer. 2 full seasons broadcasting games together. It's been a great every second has been great. And again, experiences I don't think either one of us will ever forget.
No question about it. Crazy thing, this is 3 years in the making. I mean, you talk about the 2020 season that got wiped away. Tim and myself were supposed to be on that season. And I honestly didn't know if I'd ever be back here. I thought, that 2019 season was going to be it, and then finding out that I would be returning here in 2021. It was a great opportunity, and I couldn't have asked for a better season, better media team along with me this past year. Really, just the best 2 years I've spent here in broadcasting. Honestly, these 2 summers have been outstanding, and I'm certainly going to miss it. It certainly hasn't set in yet. And, it's been a real pleasure sharing the broadcast booth with you, Tyler, and, of course, Tim as well. I'm really happy that we've been able to pass the torch on to him going forward. It's been a real blast here in Harwich.
Absolutely, and, of course, you alluded to it earlier, but a massive thank you, the biggest of thank yous, to the entire media team that made all of this happen. Of course, you got Chris Cassidy, who handled PA duties, also came in clutch with some big writing spots as well, talking about a couple of guys in Matt Lucy, who was our producer the entire season, and of course Matt Fisher, who took photography duties for us. Also former Harwich Mariners pitcher Jared Weatherby. Best of luck to him, trying to play his way into a minor league contract right now with the Philadelphia Phillies. Handled the majority of our graphics work. And of course everybody in the front office here. Mary Henderson, the team president, Ben Layton, the GM, and of course our very own Elizabeth Layton, who handles pretty much everything in between for bringing all of us in. But that'll about do it for us. Before we go, I want to say one final thank you to you, the fans, the parents, everybody who tuned in all season long. Without your guys' support and without you guys, this season does not happen. And it was a pleasure to bring you every single inning of this year, from the first pitch of game number 1 all the way down to the final pitch here in the Cape League Eastern Division Finals. So thank you so much. But that'll do it one last time for us. For Tyler Henry, for Colin Casey, and for Tim Foley, I want to say thank you for tuning in. The Harwich Mariners finished their season in heartbreak, but they do end it out 23-12-3. A season to remember for the Harwich Mariners. Thank you so much for tuning in. You have been watching Harwich Mariners baseball here on the Harwich Mariners